roll. The lawyers talk, but they're taking a toll. The gavel's heavy, the clock ticks slow. We're all stuck here, ain't nowhere to go. Can we move on, get this show on the road? This trial's dragging, it's a heavy load. We're all tuned in, but it's taking too long. Tell me, y'all, can we move on? The YouTubers live, trying to make it fun, with a smile so wide, but we're all done.
Walk away from me.
The drama's thick, the tension's strong, but
Look.
come on
look.
now,
Look
can
how
we
we got
move
here.
along? Can we move on, get this show on the road? This trial's dragging, it's a heavy load. We're all tuned in, but it's taking too long. Tell me, y'all, can we move on? Every sidebar's like another delay. The jury's eyes are begging for a getaway. We're hanging on, but it's wearing thin. Let's wrap it up, let the end begin. Can we move on, get this show on the road? This trial's dragging, it's a heavy load. We're all tuned in, but it's taking too long. Tell me, y'all, can we move on?
Hello, hello, hello. What a bop. What a bop. We're back. We are back. Hold on. We're almost back. We're quasi back. Okay. Okay. So what are we doing here? We are going to Inner City Press. This morning we heard Jane Doe. We heard from Jane Doe this morning. And she was riveting, is I think what they described her as in the Washington Post. Her testimony was riveting. Everyone was riveted. The lawyers on both sides riveted by Jane Doe's testimony. She was testifying about how she was basically like in a relationship with Diddy romantically, and then she started testifying yesterday, but basically what she has said was it started out really good with Diddy. She liked him a lot. They started dating in like 2021, and they dated all the way through 2024 when he got arrested. She said at first there was like no freak offs or whatever, but after just like a few months of dating, Diddy confided in her, shared with her that he had this taboo, I don't know, whatever. They start doing the freaking off, and she basically said it was a Pandora's box and she could not close it. And she was basically this morning, she was just going into more details. She was crying. A lot of the news reports were saying she was crying. She was sobbing. Her voice was cracking. The prosecution asked several times, did she want to take a break? She always said no. So yeah, we're back from the lunch break. It's 1:34. And we're going to start with our my favorite, speaking for myself, my favorite reporter, journalist, from inside the courtroom on the case, Inner City Press. I mean, I like him. I like him more than me for reporting on this case. And, I'm God's favorite even. So shout out to him. I got his link down below all the time. You can subscribe. There's Patreons. I've never spoken to him like in person, off just like comments to each other publicly or whatever. But I really, really respect the work he's doing. And now today we have all these other ones. We got CNN, NBC, we got the Washington Post, we got the Independent, we got Fox News. And I'll tell you, these other outlets are doing a good job from inside the courtroom, but it wasn't always like that, where it was like all these outlets reporting live from inside the Diddy court. Inner City Press, Matthew Russell Lee has been there since the beginning, and just shout out to him. Every video, I mean, I couldn't have even made the Diddy videos before. I could do them now, but it just wouldn't even be as good. I really appreciate the work he's doing. And I just want to, continue to shout him out and to send people over to support him if you can, because he really is putting in the work. And he's an independent journalist, and he's just working. It's just tiresome work. And then when the Diddy trial ends, he goes to another trial every day almost, and he's reporting on that. He was just now reporting on the Harvey Weinstein. I mean, he's just so, hats off to him. Seriously. Okay. Jury leaves. Jane leaves. Okay, they had that sidebar. All right, we're back. Oh. Can we move on? How's that AI song, y'all? Someone told me yesterday AI is not it. And I was like, that is so ironic coming from a bot. Okay, I'm just scrolling. Y'all know this thing's been kind of glitchy. Plus, I'm like exactly millennial level qualified with technology, which means, there's room for there's area for opportunity. All right, we're 3 hours away. What the heck? This is annoying. Is this what other people were going through the other day whenever I was like, it's not that bad? Was it just not happening to me? Where you had to scroll? Okay, we're back. Woo! They're back. 15 minutes ago. The assistant U.S. attorney said this afternoon we're going to be showing some explicit exhibits. Okay, there's going to be freak off exhibits, I imagine. This is going to be in the binder, so not on the counsel screen. So it's going to be, I guess, paper. So it won't need to go on the screen. But counsel, the lawyers, can come up and see the exhibits. Okay, bring the witness in and the jury. All rise. Okay. First question. Have you seen this man? Jane Doe said, Diddy brought him to our hotel room in LA. I was in a robe and lingerie and the whole wardrobe I usually had. What happened in the living room? Okay. She was repulsed by this man. All right. Okay. Have you seen this man? Jane said, yes, I've seen him before. Diddy brought him to our hotel room in LA. I was in a robe and lingerie, the whole wardrobe I usually had. What happened in the living room of the suite? Jane said, I knew this was something I could not fake. Question, what do you mean? Jane said, I was repulsed by him. I tried for 30 minutes. Then I told Diddy, can I talk to you in the bedroom? There in the bedroom, I told him I can't. I tried again, but no. I told him I'm sorry. How did he respond? How did Diddy respond? Jane said agitated. Then another man came in. Question, did Diddy talk to you first before another man came in? Jane said no. Question, who's this? Jane answers, a man I met in New York. I told him I didn't want to go to New York if it was just to set me up with a man. He said, no one. He said, He said, no, one-on-one. So I went. So this is the second time that we're hearing her testify about something like this, where it was, the other time was her birthday, I think it was 2023, where Diddy was like, come to Miami for your birthday. We'll celebrate for your birthday one-on-one. And then at dinner, they were at dinner at Nobu eating sushi. And Diddy's like, got the chopsticks. And he's like, Hold on. Oh my gosh, what an emergency. The top fell off. Hold on. Okay, I'm Diddy at Nobu. I need chopsticks lessons. Okay, I'm Diddy at Nobu and we're eating and then Diddy's like, "Oh my god, I'm so excited for the entertainment." And that was in the birthday trip of 2023 that Diddy said was one-on-one. So here we go again. I was repulsed by this man in the bedroom. I talked to him. I told Diddy I can't. He was agitated. Then what happened? Another man came. Did he talk to you first? No. Who's this man? This is the man that I met in New York. I told Diddy I didn't want to go to New York if it was just to set me up with a man. Diddy said no. One-on-one. So I went. Did you get Wi-Fi on the plane? Yes, I got Wi-Fi on the plane. And then Diddy sent me a text. Do you want entertainment tonight? So she's on the plane. Okay, she's on the plane. It's not like she could say no at this point. She's on the plane. I mean, she could get off the plane and get back on another one. But like, he texted her mid-air. Do you want entertainment tonight? After she literally said, I don't want to come if it's to set me up with a man. And then he's like, no, one-on-one. And then she's on the plane and gets a text. Do you want entertainment? She should say no. And like the way that he is phrasing it, it does make it, it's like he's already thinking about a freaking trial. He already knows what he's going to say. Look, I asked her if she wanted. Her. In my opinion, that's what I think. How did you feel when you got the "Do you want entertainment tonight" text? Jane said, disappointed. My thought of seeing my lover was shot down. Where did you go? The Trump Hotel in New York. I do at this point, like, wish that she would have, like, just out of my own, like, bias, I just wish she would have just told him to off, like, no, you lying liar, sick freak, I'm going away, I'm leaving, and I understand why she didn't, totally, and I'm not the one in the situation, but it's kind of like, almost like you just want her to just tell him off. You just want her to, like, you're rooting for that. And her. Because you're rooting for her, you're rooting for that. It's like, just tell him off, girl. My thought of seeing my lover was shot down. Where did you go in New York? The Trump Hotel. Okay. I saw the assistants setting up the room with the red lights for a hotel night. I took this photograph. Okay. It's not shown on the gallery screen. Okay. I saw the assistants setting up the room with red lights for a hotel night. I took this photograph, and then they show a photograph, but it wasn't shown to the gallery. Okay, what happened next? I told Diddy I don't want to do this. He was just like super defensive. On the way back to the room, he gave me a pill. What was it? She said it was EX. I took it, and there was a man in the room. We had small talk. I let the man touch my leg a little bit. I took Diddy to the bedroom, and I told him I can't do this. How did he react? This is weird, yeah. Okay, interesting. How did he react? He was agitated, so I called another performer. Why did you do that? Jane said, that's a hard question. At that point in the relationship, I knew that's what my partner would want. Was Diddy paying your rent at the time? Yes. And did he mention it? Okay, and then that's objection, and the judge is like, what about the time frame? Okay. Was this after Diddy started paying your rent? She said, yes, he was paying my rent. I called Sly, and he was excited. He flew to New York that night from Atlanta. What happened? She said it was nice. We had relations in front of Diddy at the Trump Hotel. Okay, let's check out the updates from CNN. Okay, an hour ago, they said Diddy rubbed his face and eyes when Jane described hotel night. Before the jury took a break, this is CNN.com, Diddy reacted as Jane testified about her birthday celebration in Miami and how she felt about having a hotel night that day. Diddy rubbed his face and eyes when Jane told the jury he gave her a bracelet and flowers, but then invited two more men into the hotel room. Jane was emotional during her testimony and heaved more than once as she cried. Is that like when you like gag? Is that like, "Ugh"? Was she like gagging at the thought of the hotel nights? Prosecutor Maureen Comey asked Jane more than once if she needed a break, but she declined each time. 24 minutes ago, the judge was back on the bench and testimony in the trial will resume shortly. Jane is back on the stand 22 minutes ago. Okay, that's the most recent update on NBC. There's 3 updates on Washington. Oh my Lord. Post. Okay. Okay, Washington Post an hour ago, Wesley Parnell. It says Diddy invited male prostitutes to Jane's birthday date, she testifies. Oh, that's such a like, wow, when you put it that way type of headline. Combs invited male prostitutes to Jane's birthday date. Invited male workers to Jane's birthday date. Jane broke down on the stand as she told the jury that Diddy surprised her with male prostitutes during her birthday celebration in 2023. Testifying under an alias, she said Diddy invited her to Miami for what she understood was one-on-one time. I remember we were at dinner and I dressed up for him. We were at a sushi place and I was just really happy to be around my lover. And he was just so loving and sweet as always. Then he starts to tell me what entertainment is tonight. I had this gulp moment, like something was stuck in my throat because I didn't expect that. Hardly able to finish her testimony, Jane spoke through tears as she described Diddy bringing in one escort after another to have relations with her, and his growing irate when she asked to use one protection. It was just hours and hours of that, she said. Foreplay, pleasing this guy, just doing so much, doing all of it, doing things my partner wanted to see, going back and forth between the men. She said she thought the night was over when another male escort walked in unannounced. I reacted like it was nothing, but inside I hated it, still sobbing, before the judge dismissed the court for an early lunch. 20 minutes ago, Wesley Parnell, Washington Post. A former girlfriend of Diddy, testifying under an alias, is back on the stand after the lunch break. The witness broke down in tears earlier as she described allegedly being forced to have relations with multiple men on her birthday in 2023. Jane is expected to continue testifying for the rest of the day. Now, this force right here, this, y'all, just to prepare you, you can expect Diddy's lawyers are going to say it was not forced, and they're going to ask questions like, there's a prediction, put the prediction flag right here. They're going to ask questions like, did you ever try to get up and leave? Did you say no? Did you ever tell the escort no? Did you, like, they're going to ask these questions, and then at the end of it, they're going to want the jury to conclude, then it wasn't forced. He wasn't holding her there. He wasn't keeping her. The door wasn't locked. That's what they're going to say. That is a prediction. However, she's not done testifying. She might answer those questions. And we really haven't gotten to any portions of her testimony quite yet where it was like overt violence. A lot of these other testimonies, and this one I expect is probably going there eventually, but a lot of the other testimony that we've heard that's now complete is violence, kicking and throwing and threatening and pew-pews. And it's like, you really haven't heard any of that yet. So it kind of does make you wonder how they're going to argue against Diddy and them saying it wasn't force because she didn't even try to get up and leave. She's telling you on the stand, she's admitting it. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's what I'm going to say. She's admitting it. She didn't even try to leave. How's that force? That's what they're going to say. Or the gist, I think, is my prediction. Okay. So she broke down in tears earlier as she described allegedly being forced to have relations with multiple men on her birthday, 2023. She's expected to continue testifying for the rest of the day until maybe up to 5 p.m. Eastern and also into next week. NBC News, Jane returns to the stand 29 minutes ago. The prosecution will continue its testimony or its direct examination of Jane this afternoon now that the lunch break has concluded. 2 minutes ago, NBC News, Adam Rice, Ying Feng, and Rebecca Cohen. Jane testifies being told she didn't have to do hotel nights anymore, just for Diddy to go back on his word. Before a trip to New York together, Jane recalled making clear to Diddy she did not want to participate in a hotel night, even though Diddy kept asking if she wanted to. When they got to the Trump Hotel, she said his assistants were setting up their room for a hotel night, and she remembers bickering with Diddy because she said she didn't want to participate. In response, Diddy was very defensive. She recalls him saying she didn't have to participate in the encounters anymore. Quote, but in my heart, I knew he didn't mean that because it still happened that night. Diddy made Jane take substances, she testified, and put her in an outfit before a man came in. I took Diddy to the bedroom and I told him I couldn't do this, and he was agitated. She said he asked her what surprises she had for him. She said she wanted to make it up for him since he wasn't going to have the night he envisioned. So she messaged another entertainer she had worked with before because she knew that would make him happy and she wanted to have an upbeat night with him. So she was like, I'll make it up to you. And then called in another guy that she was more comfortable with. And she said it ended up being a nice night and it was fine. Okay. So we had relations in front of Diddy at the Trump Hotel. Me and Diddy had to go our separate ways. But I didn't want Sly to feel like we were just leaving him. So cash was brought to the front desk for him by an assistant named Joey. Okay, who is this man? Jane said, that is another man that I had relations with in front of Diddy. And another, and I guess she holds up another picture or has a binder or whatever. A Spanish buff man. He was a bit odd, I felt. He was pulling out this scent to smell during relations. I don't know. In front of Diddy? Yes. What about this one? Is this another? This one looked more European at the La Hermitage or whatever. We had relations twice. Which entertainers did you see most often? Paul and Sly. Which ones did you reach out to? She said, I reached out to Paul, Sly, Anton, and Don. And remember, Don was the first one ever. Did you ever arrange hotel nights as a surprise for Diddy? She said, yes, twice, like Valentine's Day or the return from a trip. And did you see cash during these hotel nights? If so, where? In the drawer, yes. In the drawer, the nightstand drawer. When Diddy ran out of cash, what did he do? He made a phone call to his security or his assistants or KK, and then cash would appear. How much? Jane said, a good amount. A new update from Washington Post 1 minute ago. Wesley Parnell. After Jane told Diddy she didn't want any more freak offs, she testified, he promised her a night alone if she flew to New York City. So she's like, I don't want freak offs anymore. And he's like, okay, fine. I'm going to fly you to New York City and we can just have an alone night. While she waited for him in an SUV outside the Trump Hotel, she told the jury, she noted one of the hotel rooms was lit up in red. I was like, wow, that's extremely obvious, she said. The red light room. Oh my gosh. The red light, district is notoriously where the S workers, or sometimes voluntary, sometimes who knows. I would hope it was voluntary. But she was like, had this moment. And I'm sure it was like she also probably wasn't on substances yet. And she's pulling up to the hotel and she's like in her version of her that doesn't do that, probably. She has to also she has she said she's a single mother. So she's probably having a switch on and off. And it's like every week or every other week she's doing this. So she's going to New York. She goes to New York. She's pulling up to the hotel and Diddy already told her it's going to be one-on-one. Pulling up to the hotel and she looks up at the hotel and one of the rooms is completely lit up red. Quote, I was like, wow, that's extremely obvious. The red light room. We've heard testimony throughout the trial that Diddy meticulously prepared hotel rooms for freak-offs with supplies and decorations, including mood lights. Jane has previously testified that he liked red lighting for the freak-offs, which he said is exactly what was waiting, which she said is exactly what was waiting for her in the red room in New York. This is CNN.com. Jane says she rejected a man Diddy invited into their hotel room. She described a time around 2023 when Diddy invited a man to join them in a hotel room in LA, and she rejected having relations with him. She initially tried talking to the man and letting him touch her, but she knew that this was definitely not something she could fake doing. Ugh, this is so disgusting. She then told Diddy privately that she couldn't do it. I'm trying to adjust this. Because she wasn't attracted to the man. Then, according to Jane, Diddy told her, are you sure? Maybe just a little bit? She went back to where the man was. And when she went back to where the man was. And when they saw each other naked, Jane said she was repulsed by him. When she told Diddy again she couldn't do it, his demeanor was agitated and he accepted it, but he just seemed almost a little confused by it. This wasn't like a typical thing for us to have like a hiccup in the routine of the night, she said. Jane said they excused the man and then another man came to the hotel room. Jane explains, this is CNN less than a minute ago. Jane explains why she set up the SUL performances even though she didn't want to. I loved him very deeply. Jane says she recalls setting up hotel nights as a surprise for Diddy on 2 occasions. She said those instances were probably for special occasions such as Valentine's Day or Diddy returning from a long trip. Jane said she could hear the gray lines in between his words that implied he wanted the SUL performances to happen. He would say things like, I can't wait to see what you have for me. I just knew what task was being asked for me, she testified. Ask of me, sorry, excuse me. So Diddy would text things like, I can't wait to see what you have for me. I can't wait to see what's my surprise. And then she said, I just knew what was being asked of me when he would say that. And it was to set up a hotel night. When asked why she did that, or like why she would care that much to set up the hotel nights, even though she didn't want to, she said, I loved him very deeply. Well, that's not going to get them far. Okay, so Jane, 2 minutes ago, NBC News, Jane says she would surprise Diddy with hotel nights because it was expected. So if it's expected, is that a surprise? Jane said in court that she booked entertainers for hotel nights twice as a surprise to Diddy because she knew it was to be expected. I could read between the lines. He didn't have to tell me to do things. He would say, I can't wait to see what you have for me. I knew the task was to set up a hotel night for him. Jane says she surprised Diddy for a celebration for him coming home from a long trip. When asked how she felt about Diddy, she said she loved him very deeply and told him every day. Let's go back to Inner City Press. Okay. So the last question we had in the Inner City Press thread was, when Diddy ran out of cash, what did he do? He made a phone call to KK or security or an assistant. Cash would appear. And then how much cash? Jane said a good amount. To whom did she hand the cash? Jane said to Paul, to Don, to the person. So Diddy would hand the cash to the people. All right. So there's your institution. There's your for the commercial purpose. He would pay at the end. What would Diddy say before he brought, okay. What would he say before he brought out his iPhone to start recording? Jane said he would say nothing, or he would say, it's just for me. Did he sometimes act different? Jane said, yes, sometimes happy, sometimes not. Y'all, what if he was live streaming this stuff? I mean, I've had that theory before, but it's coming back to me. Like, what if there was like people like, God forbid there was people paying. I mean, can you imagine that type of commercial purpose? And then you don't have to record it, but then maybe he was also still recording it for the blackmail. I don't know. What if live streaming ever happened? We know they were aircast and stuff from Jane. Okay, so sometimes Diddy would act different. Sometimes he would act happy, sometimes not happy. What directions would Diddy give to put the baby oil on the man, put the lotion on its skin? The directions would also be touch herself when, okay, question. When you knew the camera was on you, how did you react? Jane said it was just part of it. Did Diddy ever record you while not on substances. So the only time that she was recorded was when she was on substances, according to her testimony. Did you act like you enjoyed? Oh no, I'm scared. Oh my God, this is terrible. Okay. Question: did you ever act like you enjoyed it? She said, yeah. Why would you do that? Jane said, I wanted to put on a good show. What fantasy talk did you engage in? Jane said, so much. Role play, a fantasy. I'm sorry, there's just so many memories. He would create characters. And now you remember Cassie with the green wig and the red wig and all that? He would create characters. And so she was kind of like acting. Refreshing the other sources. "26 minutes ago, Fox News said Jane testifies that Diddy became agitated after a hiccup in their routine. After the lunch break, Jane, ex-girlfriend of Diddy, testifying as Jane, told the court that Diddy brought a man for her to have relations with in LA in 2023. And Jane shared that it would be hard for her to fake this interaction. So she's kind of even saying here, like, I was faking it, and there was no faking this. This man was grotesque. It was going to be hard to fake the interaction because she wasn't attracted to the man. She said she tried to get to know him and let him touch her for 30 minutes, but she eventually told Diddy that she couldn't do it. The attraction wasn't there. Jane told the court this agitated and confused Diddy because he wasn't used to a hiccup in the routine. Jane and Diddy excused the man and he left. Another man then came, but Jane doesn't remember who. 7 minutes ago, Fox News, Diddy allegedly promised Jane a one-on-one night before backtracking, suggesting entertainment. She testified that Diddy suggested they have a romantic one-on-one night before allegedly backtracking and asking if they can have entertainment. Jane said she felt really disappointed and that her high of seeing her lover was shut down. This weight over me. She said, I felt this weight over me, like I felt like a balloon popped. Jane testified that when she got to the hotel, Diddy already had clothes and heels ready for her. However, Jane realized it was too late in the evening and the dinner was non-existent by the time she got to the car. So when she gets to the hotel, Diddy had clothes and heels ready for her, but it was too late in the evening and the dinner was non-existent by the time she got to the car. The court was then shown a photo Jane took of herself in the car waiting for Diddy. She noticed a red light room being set up by Diddy's assistant. Jane said she and Diddy bickered and she told him that she was done with this. Diddy then became super defensive and she told him she didn't want to have any more nights with men. She said he was listening. But knew he didn't mean it. When they got back to the hotel room, Diddy gave Jane the substance anyway. Wow. The man was already there. Wow. Jane told Diddy she couldn't do it. And that made him agitated. It was then. Okay, so then he left and then it was just down to just Diddy and Jane and she felt like she needed to make it up to Diddy. So she messaged the male entertainer Cabrale. Okay, I want to read through that again because it's like a bunch of different details from like, is it the same freak off? I just want to make sure I get like some aspect of this story straight. Okay, she testified Diddy suggested they have a romantic one-on-one night before allegedly backtracking and asking if they can have entertainment. She said she felt really disappointed and that her high of seeing her lover was shut down. She felt this weight over her like a balloon popped. And when she got to the hotel, Diddy already had clothes and heels ready for her. And Jane realized it was too late in the evening and the dinner was non existent. So he promised a romantic one-on-one, but then backtracked. They get to the hotel, the clothes and the heels are already there. Dinner was non-existent. The court was then shown a photo Jane took of herself, like a selfie, in the car, waiting for Diddy, and she noticed a red light room being set up by Diddy's assistant. Jane said she and Diddy bickered, and she told him she was done with this. Diddy then became super defensive. She said she didn't want to have any more nights with men, but then she was still being asked to have the night anyway. It just feels like a bunch of different stories are being like, it's getting hard for me to tell apart when is which one. And okay, we got an update from CNN. Diddy paid the men who joined hotel nights in cash. Jane testified she saw Diddy giving cash to at least 2 men after they had relations with her. She also paid 2 men after their encounters, but the cash she gave them always came from Diddy. All right, there's your commercial purpose or commercial transaction. Then if you can link in where that money came to Diddy's business enterprise, then you might have a Rico's cooking, maybe. I don't know. Rico Suave, they said. Sometimes after she had the relations with the men, Jane said she would go into the bedroom while Diddy said goodbye to the men in the other room. When they traveled between May 2021 and October 2023, Jane said she regularly saw Diddy with cash and he typically kept it in hotel bedroom nightstands. Every so often, when Diddy ran out of cash, he would call his security or his former chief of staff, Christina Karam, to bring him the cash or some more. Less than a minute ago, CNN.com, Diddy recorded sexual encounters on his cell phone and says the videos were just for him, accuser says. Jane said that Diddy would record sexual encounters that she had with other men during these hotel nights, and he would record it on his cell phone. And he told her the recordings were just for him. She said Diddy would record nearly every time she had relations with another man in front of him. She testified she was always on substances when Diddy recorded. She said she was fine with Diddy recording the hotel nights because she was used to it. It was just a part of what was happening. She said she acted like she enjoyed the encounters because I wanted to put on a good show. She would regularly Diddy would regularly direct her what to do sexually during a hotel night. Jane testified she'd follow the directions on command. Wow. Ugh. It makes me feel sick. All right. We're back on Inner City Press. Okay. 5 minutes ago. I'm going to show you some exhibits. Not on the council screens. Who is this? Me and Don. The next one, me and Sly. The next one, me and Paul. Then me and Leo. Then me and Anton. Was Diddy present for all these? Yes. I wore the stripper shoes the whole time. What would happen with the baby oil? She said it would drip down in the shoes. I would try to keep my balance. Did Diddy ask you to get your chest pierced? Yes. He said it would turn him on. Who set up your piercing appointment? Jane said KK. Then She said, they got caught on my lingerie and then I got an infection, so I took them out. And what did Diddy say? He said, where are my piercings? This is the last time I see you without them. My piercing. Where are my piercings? KK set up the piercing appointment. They got caught on the lingerie, and then she said that it was an infection and she took them out. And Diddy said, this is the last time I see you without them. Just like monstrous allegations. Okay. 6 minutes ago, Washington Post. Diddy sometimes ran out of cash as well as substances during his marathon freak-offs, according to Jane, his former girlfriend and alleged ST victim. Testifying under an alias, Diddy would typically pay escorts, and if the events ran long, Jane said Diddy would have one of his employees bring more cash up to the room, much like staff routinely supplied pill bottles full of illegal substances. Prosecutors are hoping to underscore the amount of cash and illegal activity that flowed through a single night in one of Diddy's freak-offs. The defense has painted the events, like Diddy's side has painted these events as consensual parties. Less than 1 minute ago, CNN.com. Jury sees photos of hotel nights. Prosecutor Maureen Comey showed the jury 15 photos that Jane said were taken during hotel nights. The public was not able to see the photos. Jane testified that each of the photos showed her and another man during a hotel night. And one of the encounters took place at Diddy's house. Jane said Diddy was present for all of the hotel nights captured in those pictures. Oh my God, this is so sad. Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Okay. So where we left off, Diddy was asking, where are his piercings? This is the last time I see you without them. Wow. Did your back hurt? Jane said yes, from bending over so much. Where else did you get sore? She said her private parts. Did you ever tell Diddy? No. Why not? Jane said, I just didn't want to indicate any negativity. Why did you keep going? Jane said, I'm not sure. And we are due for a sidebar, so they're taking one. Less than a minute ago, CNN said Jane says Diddy became super defensive when she told him she was done with hotel nights. She described another night Diddy promised would be romantic, but ultimately led to a hotel night in New York City in 2023. She described this during her testimony this afternoon. She said she flew to New York to visit Diddy after he suggested it, but she was hesitant because she figured he wanted to have a hotel night. But Diddy promised her they would have a romantic time, just the two of them. So she agreed to go. When she was in the middle of the air, like the wheel Ezekiel saw, on her way to New York, Diddy then texted her about getting entertainment. Jane testified, I felt really disappointed and I just felt this weight over me. When she got to New York City and met Diddy at the Trump International Hotel, Diddy had her wait for him in an SUV with the understanding that they were going to go to dinner. She spotted their hotel room because it was lit with red lights while she was waiting in the car. The jury saw a photo. Whoever said yesterday they already see this on American Crime Story, I agree. I already see it in my mind. She spotted their hotel room because it was lit with red lights while she was waiting in the car. The jury saw a photo she took of the outside of the hotel with red lights shining out of the room. Jane said at that point she realized Diddy's assistants must have been upstairs setting up the room for a hotel night. Before going back to the hotel room, they went to a lounge where they bickered. Jane said, so this is a lot better with the details. Jane said, I was bickering about just how I was done with this and I didn't want to do this. And like, why every time I see you, this is happening. She said Diddy was super defensive. Yeah, because he can't have anyone fracture his like thought that he's doing something, like that he's not doing anything wrong. Like he's doing wrong, nasty stuff. And anybody that indicates that to him will suffer. And it's obvious, in my opinion. I don't know. I wasn't there. Diddy was super defensive in response, but said they didn't have to keep doing it. In my heart, I knew he didn't mean it because it still happened that night. I want to know, what is Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs stewing in that chair right now? That's what I want to know. Diddy gave her substances, and when they got back to the hotel, she put on an outfit Diddy had waiting for her. A man joined them in the room, and Jane said she wasn't into anything about this guy. She told Diddy privately, and he got agitated. So this is the year they ended up breaking up, 2023. She was reaching her limits. So she said she messaged another man because she felt she just wanted to make it up to Diddy. She said the man flew from Atlanta to New York that night. She said she booked the flight herself, but then Diddy reimbursed her. So it was like that very night she sends somebody away and somebody else is coming. Oh my gosh. She said after the hotel night, one of Diddy's assistants dropped off an envelope with a few $1,000s cash for the man at the front desk of the hotel. Prosecutor Maureen Comey asked Jane why she felt she had to make it up to Diddy given their conversation earlier that night. She said that was a hard question to answer. I just wanted to give him what he wanted, and I wanted to make him happy, and I wanted to just have a good upbeat night with him, she said. Jane confirmed that Diddy was paying her rent at that point, and they had already had conversations where he brought up her rent in connection with the hotel nights. The thing is, though, this is where they're going to tear her up, because Diddy didn't he say, Jane, didn't he say earlier that night you didn't have to do them anymore? Yes, but then when I got back, he had a man waiting. Yes, but didn't you send that man away? Yes. And didn't you invite back another man? Who forced you to do that, Jane? That's what they're going to ask. Hopefully there is more to the story coming up, or more something. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, she is doing a lot of good for the prosecution, but I see how they are going to perhaps try and attack her credibility or some of the elements of the crime that they need to prove for the prosecution to make their case, maybe poke holes in some of those elements. Okay, they came back. Question, do you have an estimate of how many times you told Diddy you did not want to keep having these hotel nights? Do you have an estimate how many times you said that? I don't have an estimate. Did you ever put it in writing? Yes, Jane said. And sometimes I would have the courage to text it to him. What did you say in your text messages? That I had been texting it and telling him since 2021 how I felt? What's this? So they put up a text message exhibit, but it's not on the screen. This was November 2021. I felt jealous. He was pitting these women against each other on purpose, I believe. I felt jealous. I saw he was doing things with another woman on their Instagram stories. So this is right the first year they were dating. So she sent him a text message. The truth is, probably, if I had to guess, he was probably grooming whatever that other woman was too. Okay, we have another long quote-filled update from NBC News, if they leave it up. Jane says Diddy asked her to get chest pierced, describes preparations for hotel nights. Jane said that Diddy asked her to get her chest pierced while she was in a relationship with him. He said it would turn him on, and that's what he wanted from his girl. She said Diddy recommended a place to get the piercings, and his former chief of staff, Christina Karam, helped her set up the appointment. It felt like something bit them, she said, adding that she took the piercings off after a year because they bled and got infected. Sean would say, so Diddy would say things like, "Where are my piercings? This is the last time I see you where you don't have piercings on." She said he was agitated. Jane also described to the courtroom what she would do to prepare for hotel nights with Diddy. "I would always be on point. I would have my nails, hair, a tan. I would have my outfits and my shoes ready, same type of shoes every night, high heels, stripper heels." So he provided outfits though sometimes it seems, but she would do the outfits too, or is this a discrepancy? "I had them on the entire time, the heels, the entire time. It was a lot. The baby oil would make my feet sticky and oily. Ugh. Those shoes would probably hurt too." It was like she was like working out. Like this is what's being described seems really intense. Jane testified she bickered with Diddy after she said no to a hotel night. She testified that she and Diddy bickered because she said she didn't want to do a hotel night in New York in 2023. That's whenever Diddy told her she didn't have to do the hotel nights anymore. But in my heart, I knew he didn't mean it because it still happened that night. In another 2023 incident in LA, so now we're in Los Angeles, she said she rejected a man who came for a hotel night because she was repulsed. Diddy seemed agitated and confused by the incident, but eventually they just called another man. She previously testified that the hotel nights involved her having relations with another man at Diddy's direction, and her testimony echoes Cassie's testimony about freak-offs. Jane says Diddy recorded videos of these hotel nights. Ugh, it just flashed through my mind, Ray J. Like revisiting that whole tape. Like, why was it originally recorded? Because, like 2007 when it actually like hit the market, but it was recorded in 2002. So someone sat on it for 5-6 years before it was like all out. Or maybe it was was it 2004? No, I think it was 2007. Anyway, Jane says Diddy recorded videos of hotel nights. She testified that Diddy often recorded videos of her having relations with other men during the hotel nights. Jane said Diddy told her the videos were just for him. It was just part of what was happening. Earlier in the trial, Cassie testified that Diddy would record freak-offs, which similarly involved her having relations with other men at his direction. Cassie testified that Diddy would sometimes threaten to release these tapes. Cassie's mom also testified that Diddy once threatened to release tapes if he wasn't paid $20,000. Okay. What's this? It's a text message exhibit that wasn't shown on the screen. November 21st, 2021. I felt jealous. I saw he was doing things with another woman on their Instagram stories. Why did you feel jealous if you knew he was dating other women? Jane said, because I came to do hotel nights with Don and Sly. Then he gives quality time to another woman. This next text, she said, I wrote, I need a breather and a break from you. Play this exhibit, a voice note. Oh my gosh, I am in disbelief. It's a voice note being played in court of Diddy hollering. She asks me to, this is Diddy's answer. She asked me to work out. This is the time you gonna be curse at me. I don't know what that, oh, you gonna curse at me? I don't have a bunch of guy friends. Don't matter if I just effed her. Be sad. Go crazy. I don't deserve being honest with someone. What? I'm gonna need the transcripts to come out of that. So she said, yeah, okay. So this is a text message exchange between Diddy. This is a text message exchange between Diddy and Jane Doe. I came to do hotel nights. She said, I felt jealous. If you knew he was dating other women, Jane, why did you feel jealous? She said, because I came to do hotel nights with Don and Sly, and then he gives quality time to another woman. What about this text? Jane said, I wrote, I need to take a breather and a break from you. She probably wanted to take a breather and a break from the break-offs. Play this exhibit. It's a voice note. Okay. I need a break and a breather from you. And then the next thing you hear is a voice note of Diddy saying, she asked me to work out. This is the time you gonna be cursed at me. I don't know what I know Inner City Press is just like typing 1,000 miles an hour. So I'm not blaming him at all, but like, I don't know what this sentence is. And then in the voice note, Diddy's like, I don't have a bunch of guy friends. Don't matter if I just beeped her. Be sad, go crazy. I don't deserve being honest with someone. What is the man talking about? How often did Diddy call you crazy? Often. It made me feel confused. What did you say? Well, I said, she didn't just come to the gym. I don't even care who you are laying with. I wanted that time with him. I said, you just want the hotel crap. Okay, we got 2 new updates from CNN. 6 minutes ago, Jane describes the health issues she said she faced because of hotel nights. And Cassie also described some hotel night health injuries. She would get UTIs, she would get other injuries. I think UTIs was like the main one. And of course, like all the substance use issues and dependencies and all that. Okay, 6 minutes ago, Jane describes the health issues she faced because of the hotel nights. She testified that her shoulders and back would hurt during every hotel night because she would have to stay in certain positions for many hours. That's what my partner wanted to see. She testified that she often got UTIs and infections as a result of hotel nights. She said she took antibiotics for the UTIs, and sometimes she would tell Diddy when she had them. She said there were other times where she couldn't fully recover from an infection before they had another hotel night. Jane says Diddy demanded she put back her piercings. Jane says she always had to have the outfits ready to wear, stripper heels for the entire duration of a hotel night. I would just be always on point as far as my glam. Poor thing. Sometime around the end of 2022 or the beginning of 2023, Jane says Diddy said he wanted her to get her chest pierced, and Diddy's former chief of staff, Christina Karam, helped schedule an appointment at a place Diddy recommended. After about a year, Jane said she stopped wearing the piercings because they snagged on her lingerie and they were bleeding and got infected. She said Diddy got impatient because she didn't have the piercings and eventually demanded she put them back in. Where are my piercings? This is the last time I see you when you don't have any piercings on. Oh my God. Ew. I'm telling y'all, all this is beyond my threshold. But easy for me to say I'm not the one in it, you know. It's just, there's certain moments where it's like, it's got to sting. Like, wait, he wants me to wait. He just really doesn't care. Jane said she got UTIs almost every week. Amid the hotel nights, Jane said she got UTIs and infections almost every week, and she had to take antibiotics for constant pain. It would take her between a week and a half and a couple weeks to recover, and sometimes she didn't or couldn't recover fully before another hotel night. She said she used to get soreness in her private parts and her pelvic area every night, but she never told Diddy that. She also said she didn't stop when she got sore, but she's not sure why. And that is going to be where Diddy's team is going to have a field day. You don't know why. They're going to have to get Dawn Hughes back on the stand. Okay, we have an update 3 minutes ago. Wesley Parnell from Washington Post. There's like a mosquito or something in here. Okay, Jane developed UTIs. This is Washington Post. After nearly every freak off, she testified, her back and her shoulders often hurt because I would be at the edge of a seat or the edge of a bed in the position that Diddy liked. Diddy would sometimes make Jane have relations with escorts in another freak off before her previous UTIs had healed. She said it felt like burning. Ugh. Her pelvic area also hurt during freak offs, she testified, but she didn't feel comfortable complaining because Diddy wanted her to, quote, stay positive. She would become upset, Jane said he, meaning Diddy, would become upset, defensive, belittling, and dismissive. On multiple occasions, this happened, and it would happen when she suggested pausing. So when she would be like, can we pause? He would be upset, defensive, he would be belittling, and he would be dismissive when she would ask for a pause. So now we're finally getting to where, okay, what happened when she actually would speak up and say things? Because so far, I haven't seen it reported about like the violence and, Cassie was like, he was kicking her, he was beating her. But this one is like, they're taking a different route through telling the story of Jane's relationship with Diddy than they did with Cassie. I'm sure it's for a reason, but it's starting to open that door into like, okay, he would become upset. He would become dismissive when she would try to say something. 1 minute ago, CNN.com, along that same vein, this is where we're heading in the storytelling process of the prosecution's case. Jane says she told Diddy she wanted to stop, but he would get defensive, belittling, and dismissive. She testified she didn't know how many times she told Diddy she wanted to stop. Perfect. Because what did I say that Diddy's lawyers are going to say? Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you just say no? And now we're finally getting a little preview into that answer, hopefully. She testified she didn't know how many times she told Diddy that she wanted to stop the hotel nights, but typically it was in text messages. When she tried to tell him in person or over the phone, he would overpower the conversation and get defensive, belittling, and dismissive. And we did see the girl stop. We did see that. It's like she was like, I would like to speak like adults. I want to talk like adults. And Diddy said, girl, stop. Jane said she would often collect her thoughts in the notes application of her iPhone. She said it was the only avenue to get my feelings out and write my thoughts and feelings. Jane said sometimes she got the courage to send those thoughts to Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs. Toward the end of their relationship in 2024, Jane said Diddy told her he never knew she didn't want to partake in hotel nights. Ooh, I think this came up in a prison call where it was like, I remember them arguing about this in evidence, in court, at pretrial, where you do need the mental state, right? It can't be, and this is probably one of the reasons they didn't charge Diddy with like straight up sexual assault on top of the statute of limitations. But with her, they could probably have tried it because they are within the 1 year. But in an sexual assault case, for someone to be criminally convicted, they have to have been aware that it was non-consensual. It's part of the law in like, I think almost every jurisdiction and here too. So Diddy's whole entire everything just hinges somehow on like, oh, it was all consensual, and the stuff that was not consensual, like they did it too. It's like the classic narc handbook. So toward the end of their relationship in 2024, this is, I think, when the government was trying to say Diddy was witness intimidating. Jane said, CNN.com reporting, that Diddy told her last year he never knew she didn't want to participate in the hotel nights. She believed him at the time, but she later reviewed her text messages with Diddy and came to realize that she had actually been expressing feelings of not wanting to do the hotel night since 2021. She said, I had actually been saying the same things over and over again. And she was completely and totally convinced by Diddy. Okay, 4 minutes ago, we got NBC News. Diddy said he did not know how Jane felt about hotel nights, despite her telling him often. That is a good headline. Diddy said he did not know how Jane felt about hotel nights, despite her telling him often. Perfect. Jane said Diddy told her toward the end of their relationship that he didn't know. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Oh, silly me. You should have told me. Come to find out she did. She told him multiple times, she says, in text and in person. She testified she believed him the entire time at the time. But she's reviewed their text messages now, and she actually has been telling him the same thing over and over again since 2021. She said when she would tell him how she felt about hotel nights during the relationship, he was upset, dismissive, and belittling. Okay. So last we left off on the inner city press thread. How often did he call you crazy? Jane said, often. It made me feel confused. What did you say? I said she didn't just come to the gym. I don't even care who you were laying up with. I wanted that time with him. She said, I didn't even care. It wasn't about he was with someone else. It was that he was only doing hotel stuff with me. I don't even care who you are laying up with. I wanted that time with him. I said, you just want the hotel stuff. What happened here? Jane said, I had relations with Leo. I was on substances. It made my partner happy and I was okay with it. How many phones did Diddy use? Jane said 2. He started dating another woman. He did a big birthday for her. How'd you see that birthday celebration? Jane said, I saw it on Instagram. And that is funny. This was Diddy juggling all his girlfriends. What did you say whenever you saw the birthday on Instagram? I said, I see what you're going. I see what you are going for her. Why do you play me? Say she's just a business partner? Then you say she's spending money on you? How would you feel if I said a man was spending money on me? How would you feel if I said a man was spending money on me? And the assistant U.S. attorney said, okay, and then what did you write next? Jane said, I wrote, I feel cheap. Oh, it's just so bad. What did you say? Right. Okay. So, and they're just flashing this poor girl through it, right? What's happening here? Oh, here's a picture of me having with Leo. Oh, I was real high. It made Diddy happy. Okay, what's next? Oh, okay. This is where Diddy started dating another woman. He did a big birthday thing for her. I saw it on Instagram. Like they're just flashing her through the whole thing. I see what you're going for. I see you're going for her. Why do you play me? You say she's just a business partner. Then you say she's spending money on you. How would you feel if I said a man was spending money on me? And she said, I feel cheap. Okay, 1 minute ago, CNN, Jane is reading text messages she sent to Diddy. Jane read out loud text messages she sent to Diddy in November 2021. This is the end of the year. Their first year dating is about a year after they met. She described at the end of that year that she felt mistreated and needed a breather. She wrote she was feeling some type of way, and she referred to a homegirl. She testified, and remember, we can't see these. These are all behind a screen or whatever. She testified that she had just gotten back from a hotel night, and she saw on social media he was spending quality time with another woman. I felt mistreated, that I was coming there to do a hotel night. And when I leave, he's giving another woman this quality time that I was begging for. And this sounds so similar to Cassie. In other messages, Jane referenced hotel vibes and the names of two male entertainers they had seen. I need a breather and a break from you. This doesn't make me feel good at all. Your true intentions with me are in plain sight, she wrote in another message. She testified she was referring to the hotel nights in those messages. Oh, 4 minutes ago, Washington Post updates Wesley Parnell. Jurors are looking at a text chain from November 2021 after Jane returned from a 2-day freak off that she had thought was going to be a weekend getaway with Diddy, and saw he posted Instagram photos of another woman in his home gym. This doesn't make me feel good at all, Jane wrote. I see what I'm turning into in your eyes. You've been saying you miss me and want to see me, but you were lying. You just want the hotel. Beep. Diddy responded with an expletive-filled voice message that thundered through the courtroom on replay. You are effing nuts. So be sad. Go crazy. Do whatever the F you want to do. Diddy screamed. It doesn't matter if I just finished effing her the other day. Ooh, order. Order in this court. Diddy, they had him playing on loud. Woo, we got to read that one again, y'all. Because it's like we get these little bits and pieces, and then it all kind of starts a little bit, some of it starts to fall back together and make sense. Jurors are looking at a text chain from November 2021 after Jane returned from a 2-day freak off. This was a 2-day long freak off she had. She thought it was going to be a weekend getaway with Diddy. She just gets back to her house. She really wants to be spending time with him and not doing all this freak off stuff. And she saw he posted Instagram photos of another woman in his home gym. This doesn't make me feel good at all. I see what I'm turning into in your eyes. You've been saying you miss me and want to see me, but you were lying. You just want the hotel stuff. Diddy responded with an expletive-filled voice message that thundered through the courtroom. You are effing nuts, so be sad. Go crazy. Do whatever the F you want to do. It doesn't matter if I just finished effing her the other day. Wow. He is cruel, if true. I don't know. I wasn't there. 4 minutes ago, The Independent. Jury sees Jane's texts to Diddy. This was 2021. Jane told Diddy she was feeling some type of way. I need a breather and a break from you, she wrote to Diddy. This doesn't make me feel good at all. Your true intentions with me are in plain sight. Quote, I felt mistreated, that I was coming there to do a hotel night. And when I leave, he's giving another woman this quality time that I was like begging for, she told the jury. Jane claims, this 8 minutes ago, Fox News, Jane claims Diddy told her he never knew she didn't enjoy sleeping with male entertainers. He knew. He freaking knew. The prosecutor asked how many times Jane told Diddy she didn't want to have hotel nights. She didn't have a number, but allegedly she informed the rapper mostly via text. She brought it up in person as well. Diddy allegedly got defensive, belittling, and dismissive. She said he would overpower the conversation, and then boom, exhibit A was that voice note. That doesn't look good for him. It is starting to creep in some of this, and I expected it to come out. It just hadn't yet because of the way that the prosecution is laying out the evidence in this particular witness's case, she would bring it up. She did bring it up. She did try to say she didn't like it. It's in writing. There's evidence of it. And you know what else there's evidence of? Diddy screaming at her, calling her crazy whenever she said, all you want from me is hotel stuff. She brought it up in person as well. Dilly allegedly got defensive, belittling, dismissive, and said he would overpower. She said he would overpower the conversation. Jane said she would go over the notes in her iPhone where she had written her thoughts and feelings. She said sometimes she would feel better just writing it out, and sometimes she'd actually send it to Diddy via text message. She said at the end of their relationship, Diddy told her she never told him she disliked the hotel nights with male entertainers. And at the time, she actually believed it. But then she actually had a chance to go back and review 6 years of text messages, and she realized that she actually had been informing him since 2021. The court was then shown text messages from all the way back in November 2021, where Jane said, I'm definitely feeling some type of way. She said she was feeling jealous and sad because she was feeling bad she went on a trip without Diddy. Wait. Jealous and sad because she was feeling bad she went on a trip without Diddy and had a hotel night? I don't know what that means. 1 minute ago, CNN.com, Jane testifies that she once told Diddy he didn't want her. He just wanted the hotel nights. The jury is hearing more text messages that Jane exchanged with Diddy. Don't say you effing miss me and you're bored over there. Just don't say to me at all. You don't deserve me, Jane said to Diddy. Yes, tell him. Tell him. But then Diddy sent her an audio message in response saying, quote, you got to believe this is the last time you're going to be cursing at me. Okay, that's what Inner City Press was typing. There was a couple, I guess, just typos or whatever. Diddy sent her an audio message responding saying, you going to believe this is the last time you going to be cursing at me. Because she said, don't say you effing miss me and you bored over there. Just don't say to me. And he said, you better believe this is the last time you're going to be cursing at me. Diddy was denying having relations with a woman Jane saw him with on social media, and he called her crazy. In the message played for the jury, Diddy told Jane to go be sad, and he also said he can have relations with whoever he wants. Diddy often called Jane crazy, she testified. It would make me feel confused, just doubt. Jane testified she didn't care that Diddy was with other women, but she said she wanted more time with him. It was what they were doing that made me jealous. I wanted that time with him. That's what I wanted from him. She testified she was jealous of the other women and how Diddy treated them. Growing emotional, Jane said, I was being treated like I was the one who had to take this on. I had to take all of this on, and they didn't. At one point, Jane texted Diddy, it's not me you miss or want. Jane testified in that text, she meant, it's not me you want. It's these nights. Okay, 3 minutes ago, CNN.com, Jane says Diddy would tell her all the things she wanted to hear after fights. After that text conversation, Jane said Diddy FaceTimed her and calmed her down. It's something Diddy would do after having a fight about the hotel nights. And Jane said that it happened often. He would say things, all the things I wanted to hear. He would say that it's not what I was thinking. He would just downplay whatever I was freaking out about and said that he loved me and he missed me and wanted to see me. And I think this is so easy for these people, but it's not that he's lying. It's that he really believes it. He really believes it's not that big of a deal and she should like it and it should be fun for her because he doesn't get normal people behavior. He's so deranged, in my opinion. I don't know. I wasn't there. Okay. So now we are back in inner city press land. Okay. After your first hotel night in May 2021 with Don, what did you do next? Jane said we went out on a yacht. And later, we would just sleep after hotel nights. What did you write in this note? Jane said, I wrote, why am I just for your freaky desires? Did you send this note to Diddy? No, I did not have the courage. Okay, what about this note? Jane said, I wrote, you were partying with another girl. You just want me for debauchery. I'm done being used by you. You trashing my house with dirty debauchery. I'm done. Okay. Wow. And what did you mean by this? Jane said, right after I spent my birthday having relations with these men in the hotel room, Diddy went on a vacation with another girl he was dating. But like she had to know the other girls were all having to have the freak offs, right? Diddy went on a vacation with another girl he was dating. How did he respond to your text? He wrote, I didn't tell her about your birthday. The man, I think he has something wrong with him. Intellectually, spiritually, in all ways, really. The frontal lobe. Did you send this to, okay, so she said, why am I just for your freaky desires? Did you send this to him? No, I didn't have the courage. What about this note? I wrote, you were partying with another girl. You just want me for debauchery. I'm done being used by you. You trashing my house with dirty debauchery. I'm done. And what was this? So this is a different one. This is a text. So we're going back and forth between notes from her notes app and text messages. What is this? Right after I spent my birthday having relations with these men in a hotel room, Diddy went on a vacation with another girl he was dating. How did he respond to your text? He just wrote, I didn't tell her about your birthday. This is such a good headline still. Diddy said he did not know how Jane felt about hotel nights despite her telling him often. 2 minutes ago, Jane testifies to feeling heartbroken after Diddy started dating a new woman. The prosecutor asked Jane how often she would fight with Diddy about hotel nights and then have FaceTime calls, and Jane said often. She alleged that Diddy would say all the things she wanted to hear, and he would downplay what she was upset about, and he would say he loved her. In February 2022, Jane was preparing for her birthday. They were in the Waldorf, and she did not expect to have relations with other men on her birthday, but ended up meeting and having relations with Leo, a male entertainer. Diddy said he had entertainment coming. Jane said at the time she was really on substances and in love with her partner, and she was okay with it. The court was then shown text messages from February 11th, 2022, with Diddy asked to her, why aren't you responding to me? Jane said between her birthday and February 11th, Diddy started dating another woman, and it was heartbreaking. This was 2022. She saw Diddy plan a grandiose birthday for another woman and compared it to her own birthday, right? So that's how she spent her birthday with these 3 men. that she wasn't even aware she was going to be having to do. She spent her birthday, and then how Diddy did a whole birthday bash for another person's birthday. So she stopped talking to him. Jane said between her birthday and February 11th, Diddy started dating another woman. So her birthday, remember, was the freak off at the hotel. And then the first one she did in the first room, and then moved to a new room with a suite, and it had cake and balloons. Like, okay, yay, happy birthday. We're gonna, and then another one came in. And then he left, and guess what happened? Then another one came in. That's how she spent her birthday. And she said when the second one came in, she was sitting there with her birthday cake and her balloons. Second one came in and there was no speaking. Everybody just got into character and just, it's weird. Jane said she wrote to Diddy, quote, "I don't ever want to do another hotel entertainment night with you. I felt so cheap." She said hotel nights continued over the next year, but she didn't want to do them. Diddy had promised dates and trips, but they mostly just did hotel nights, according to Jane. Okay, so how did he respond to your text about the other girl he went on vacation with? He wrote, "I didn't tell her about your birthday." What did he write to you next? That it looked like I had a nice birthday dinner with my girlfriends. Okay, who paid for that dinner? She said Diddy. But was he there? No. And here, when you said you were tired, Jane said it was after 3 men. Golly. What did he write you here? He wrote, "I'm tired of you throwing sex in my face. Let's just be friends." What did you think he meant? I thought he meant like when I bring up hotel nights. And what did you write? She said, "Are you really breaking up with me?" What did he write you here? He wrote, "I'm tired of you throwing S in my face. Let's just be friends." And I thought he meant when I bring up the hotel nights. And what did you write? "Are you really breaking up with me?" Less than a minute ago, CNN.com, Jane says Diddy started dating another woman shortly after participating in a hotel night. Jane described feeling heartbroken and so cheap after Diddy showed off a new dating relationship with another woman shortly after participating in a hotel night on Jane's birthday. Jane read messages from February 2022 where she asked Diddy what color dress she should wear. She testified that they were getting ready to meet up for her birthday at the LA hotel. Diddy told her they were going to dinner and then they would hang out, and she wasn't expecting to have a hotel night. But a new man came over and she ended up having relations with him. She said, "At this point, I was really on substances and in love with my partner, and I was okay with it." Soon after her birthday, Jane said she saw on social media that Diddy had started dating another woman. It was really heartbreaking for me because I saw this big, grandiose birthday that he did for her versus the type of birthday that I had just experienced with him. So she says she texted Diddy, "I don't ever want to do another hotel night. I didn't want to do those things with you on my birthday, but I wanted to make sure we had a good time." So this is a lot more details here. This is in writing, quote, "I didn't want to do those things with you on my birthday, but I wanted to make sure we had a good time. I feel so cheap once again." Golly. Thanks so much, Adam Freeman, for the $2 super chat. I need a CD. Yes, I should make a CD. I should burn CDs with all the songs. Love your channel. Thank you. Shout out to you. Yeah, this is so nasty. Allison Hoover, I totally agree. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Only a soulless, heartless person would want to watch another man up and down on their girlfriend. Brother Love has no idea what love even means. Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. Great intro. Let's move on. Can we move on? Thank you for the $10 super chat. Robin Hood. Tisa Tells said the jurors won't even look at Diddy today. The judge, thank you, Tiffany White, for letting me know and for the $5 super chat. The judge must have put the fear of God in them. And I told him yesterday that he needed to, because with all the kikiing and the chi-chiing and the fifiing and the passing notes and the I told you and all that, that's unacceptable. They need to relax. Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. Surprise. Yeah, he is so nasty. I agree, Jody. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Thanks so much to Hester for the €11.99. I mentioned gang stalking earlier, which was recently looking into yourself. Yeah, it could have been with Brittany. It could be with going on with Justin Bieber too. How he's been posting, on his Instagram and stuff, being stalked by the paparazzi. Thank you for the €11.99. Oilos. Thanks so much, Michelle, for the $3 super sticker. Shout out to Jennifer becoming a member. Thank you, Kimpa. Dude's operating like a pump. Yeah, a pump, all right. Thank you so much, Kimpa, for the $1.99. Oh wow, I don't know about these dolphin teeth. Thank you so much to Sunflower for the $4.99 super chat. Okay. So the last text that we were reading here from Inner City Press is Diddy broke up with her. Diddy was saying, I'm tired of you throwing sex in my face. Let's just be friends. What did you think he meant? That anytime I brought up the hotel nights. And what did you write? Are you really breaking up with me? So now Jane is sobbing on the witness stand. And her text message, she's reading it out loud. She said, "You're the only man in my life. You took someone else to the place I have dreamed of." Where? Turks. That was their first fantasy date. Remember? That must be where he takes people to do like fantasy, get them hooked. Took her to the Turks and Caicos. What did he write? He wrote, "I'm tired of these long texts telling me what I'm doing wrong." I wrote, "What am I doing wrong?" Yeah, she's like, "What am I doing wrong that I don't get to have a date from time to time?" She said, "You're the only man in my life. You took someone else to the place I have dreamed out." They must be taking their siestas right now over there in the media. Fox News. Jane testifies feeling heartbroken. It is kind of like the stories do seem, and I think it's just because we don't have the transcripts yet, they're kind of like getting reported kind of differently. Okay, they're taking a little breaky. All right, so we're getting a break. Somebody says he's not even cute. I know, Leah. Seriously, thank you for the $4.99. Thank you, BJ, for covering this nasty, diabolical work. Make sure you stay prayed up. Listen, 1,000 may fall at my side, 10,000 at my right hand, but it will not come near me. I'll only observe with my eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. Yes, indeed. Love you. Thank you. Thank you for the $4.99. It's like, it is a mind uck, but here's the thing, y'all. Is it illegal? I need to see the force, the fraud, the coercion, because so far it's just like, I didn't want to lose my mansion and I really loved him, which I do think that it's wrong to take advantage of a person in that situation, but Is that in the codes? I need to hear more voice notes, because I think Diddy has been operating on a very gray line for a long time, because like if you're recording it, is it institution or is it corn production? Yeah. I hadn't really thought of Blink Twice since this trial really, but it does actually, now that you mention it. I know they were completely financially reliant on him. However, this particular Jane Doe does testify she was getting child support. She also testifies that she could have been making a lot of money on OF, but Diddy wouldn't let her. But if she was broke up with him, it seems like she had a friend. She said she had a friend made $4 million on the OF. Now, I'm not trying to say run out and go work on OF. I actually think it's pretty diabolical. However, if she had that as an option, it's not like she didn't. And she said she wanted to. Yeah, I'm sure it requires paperwork and stuff, but you know, they sort that all out in the back end. And it's really like, you know, for me, I think I'm a pretty reasonable person. For me, I don't really think it should be allowed in a way, right? Like for him to be doing this in the bigger picture of everything. I think if this was just R and it was just this one Jane Doe, it might be actually, they might have a problem. But it's not every single witness going to prove the whole case. In fact, it's almost never the case that one witness proves the whole case. So I just want to, you know, make sure we're looking at it from, or I'm looking at it, speaking for myself, from like an actual, like objective perspective, because what the last thing we need to do is not anticipate Diddy's team's going to come up and do what they do best, you know? Right. But it's like, I almost feel like Diddy knew he was walking I think he was walking a fine line. And now we are putting the government, the prosecution to the test to see if they can actually find out of these separate crimes. And listen, y'all, just because if they don't prove RICO, that don't mean Sean Combs ain't going to be sitting in jail the rest of his damn life. Okay. They could prove other combinations of things. So I don't know. Camille said how many witnesses total are on the docket to testify. I don't know. It's not public. But I know they were completely reliant on him, but they also had other sources of income, specifically this Jane Doe. She specifically testified. And it's like, she wanted a nice house. Well, me too. You know, like at some point, it's like, where was he choked you? And listen, again, I do think this witness has been helpful for the case so far, even just corroborating the freak offs, corroborating that Diddy is like, you know, having assistants set these rooms up. Diddy is transporting people across state lines. So there's a lot of stuff that this witness is absolutely credible on and has corroborated. But there's some things I personally find her to be credible on. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I can see how she was mind controlled, like totally brainwashed. I believe it. But is mind control and brainwashing a crime? Should it be? Does that count onto and map onto the elements specifically that the government has to prove for this? I mean, we're looking at it right now with Harvey Weinstein. I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm saying this. Harvey Weinstein right now is like, the jury is deliberating. I think he might be getting a mistrial after he already had the first mistrial where it was overturned. And now they had to do a retrial. I think they might have just mistrialed again. That's the rumblings I was seeing. That happened, in my opinion, because the government did not charge and prosecute the right crime. They prosecuted for RAPE, a few counts of it. And then they got all these other witnesses that they weren't prosecuting as victims to come in and talk about every old thing that ever happened that wasn't reported, wasn't charged ever before. Had they let those two witnesses out and just focused on the witnesses of the issue at issue, They would have probably not got that mistrial. He probably still would have been in jail. I know a lot of people would like him to be in jail. So when I'm saying things like poking holes here, there, and everywhere, I'm trying to make sure that people get fair trials so justice is somehow served in some way. But really, truly, it's like all these people doing all these admitting to crimes. It's like, how hard is it just to get one person out of this criminal enterprise alleged innocent until proven guilty? But there's been 3 people they've had to give immunity to. I don't know how many co-conspirators there are, if any. They got to charge people with the right stuff. I think they're doing the same thing with Luigi Mangione. They charging him with terrorism instead of just simple, like, homicide. And it's a lot harder to choose that terrorism thing. I mean, to prove it. Okay. Oh my God, there's YouTube accounts. They're talking about YouTubers? Oh my God. Oh, who is it, y'all? The jury left out. Jane Doe's lawyer said, I want to bring to the court's attention, that there are YouTube accounts that are actively trying to find out Jane's identity. Where we find contact information, we reach out. We are recording live streams. Well, y'all know I'm not. Yeah, I'm not trying to. I got about 8,000 witnesses in here that this don't apply to me. I don't want to know Jane's identity. I already told y'all I don't want to know it. And I have all possible names blocked in my chat where y'all can't even say it. So that's not mine. But I do remember DJ Academics telling me on his live stream yesterday or the day before, I think it was the day before, DJ Academics took issue with me saying he didn't need to be trying to find out people's identities. He told me to shut up. DJ Academics told me to shut up. He said he's nosy and he's going to find out who is Jane Doe and there's nothing I can do about it. Well, maybe I was just trying to help him out because look at what they're talking about right now in the court. I want to bring to the court's attention that there are YouTube accounts that are active. Now, I don't know if this is who they're talking about. I don't know if they're talking about Academics. I don't know. Maybe he turned over a new leaf. Maybe he came to Jesus. I don't know. Do you have evidence of these people? The judge said, do you have evidence of these people that they're in? If these people are in the courtroom or in the overflow room, are they just people online? Jane's counsel said, if we had found that, we would ask for them to be banned from the courtroom or the overflow room. The judge says, make an ex parte filing and I will ask the marshals to investigate. Okay, let me retweet this. This is something. Okay. So they're trying to get these people banned from the courtroom. But what else can a judge do? That's what I want to know. They published her license. Look, Jane Doe's lawyer said, Jane Doe's lawyer said, if someone published her driver's license, it would violate your order. The judge says, send me what you can. I'll consider it, even over the break. Okay. Oh my gosh, y'all. It is heating up. Wow. Okay. 8 minutes ago, Jane wrote she was done being used by Diddy in her notes app. CNN.com. The jury saw excerpts of Jane's writings from her notes app where she described how she felt about hotel nights in November 26, 2022. Well, it also said 21. Maybe we're just looking at a bunch of different dates. In one note, Jane wrote that she kept waiting for Diddy to fulfill his promises, which was a reference to how Diddy would tell her they would spend time together outside of the hotel nights, but it would never happen. You hurt my feelings every time you dismiss me. It's belittling, according to the writings shown in court. Jane said Diddy promised her things she wanted, including date nights and quality time with him, but said he wanted to have hotel nights first. So he would be like, let's do a hotel night and then we can spend some time together. She would agree, and after them, Jane said they would be too exhausted, and they spent the rest of the free time sleeping. In another note, Jane wrote, "Hey, I don't know why you're calling me, but I'm sorry. I don't want to do substances for days and days and have you use me to fulfill your freaky, wild desires in hotel rooms." Jane read out loud a note she wrote in December 2022 in which she said Diddy wanted escapism and debauchery, and then would turn to other women, leaving her cleaning and recovering from hotel nights on her own. "You have just crossed too many lines," she wrote in the note, adding that he would be in contact with other women while she was with him. She testified she would clean up after some of the hotel nights, which some occurred at her home. She said, "I'm done being used by you. I don't feel good around you," she wrote in the note. "It was really hurtful to see that Sean was so capable of doing these really romantic love gestures. But when it came to me, I was just always met with excuses. I'd like to get off the hamster wheel and do something different with you," Jane said. Prosecutor Maureen Comey is now reviewing texts between Diddy and Jane after her birthday in February 2023 in Miami. Jane testified that on her birthday, so it was February 2022, they had a freak off with Leo, and then 2023 was the one in Miami for her birthday. Got it. Jane testified that on her birthday, Diddy sprung a hotel night on her with 3 men. She texted him, "Why do you lie to me?" She testified that after the hotel night on her birthday, Diddy embarked on a private vacation with another woman. "It broke my heart because I just finished spending my birthday with these guys having relations with me. Then just for my partner to leave and do such a romantic gesture for someone else." She said she had a feeling in Miami that Diddy was planning something for someone else. But when she asked him about it, he said no. Diddy responded to Jane's text asking why he lied. He said, quote, "Because I didn't feel like telling you what I was doing with her. You had your birthday and I didn't tell her what I was doing with you." Oh my God, he is sick. "It really just feels like you use me to get off and then go away for a week." In the next message, Jane wrote, "I'd like to get off the hamster wheel and do something different with you. I deserve it too." In another message, she wrote that he had promised her vacations for years, but all we do is hotels and it's sad. It's not fair to me. I didn't want to do all of that on my birthday. You knew how tired I was. Diddy eventually responded, "Let's be friends because I can't take this part for real. I'm done with you comparing yourself to someone else. I treat you good. If you don't feel so, let's just be friends. I'm tired of these long texts telling me what I'm doing wrong." Oh my God, girl, break up with him. The court takes a short break 7 minutes ago, but 4 minutes ago, the judge, Jane's attorney, asked the judge to take further steps to protect Jane's identity. Jane's attorney is addressing the court about media and social media reports about her identity. The attorney is asking the judge to take further steps to enforce the pseudonym order. Okay, NBC News. Jane wrote a note saying she was done in 2022. In a December 12th, 2022 iPhone note, Jane wrote she was done being used by Diddy. "You are hurtful and damaging to me," she wrote. "I have to go away from you because you have crossed too many lines." The note shown in court continued, "I'm done being used by you. You leave me to clean up and recover on my own." The note was written in her phone's notes app and was never sent to Diddy. When asked why she never sent it, she said she was nervous. 2 minutes ago, Jane says she felt used after finding out Diddy was taking another woman on trips. She told the court that Diddy went on a trip with another woman after a hotel night they had on her birthday in 2023. She found out about it when she saw the other woman had posted a private jet decorated for her birthday on Instagram, adding that they went to Turks and Caicos, a destination she asked Diddy to take her many times. It made me feel absolutely terrible, she said. I just finished my birthday with him. It broke my heart because I just finished spending my birthday with all these guys having relations with me, and then he would leave and do such a romantic gesture for someone else. When Jane confronted him, Diddy said he didn't feel like telling her what he was doing with someone else. In a text to Diddy shown in court, Jane said she didn't want to do a hotel night on her birthday and that she was frustrated and feeling used. Diddy responded by accusing Jane of throwing S in his face and saying, let's just be friends. Okay, so we finally get the response that she gave him. Quote, I don't throw sex in your face constantly, but these nights require everything out of me for 30 or 40 hours straight. She responded via text, I figure on my birthday you would switch it up on me. You're making me feel used right now. And now you're breaking up with me? Diddy eventually texted her that he missed her and asked to make it up to her. Jane had told the court she didn't respond for 13 days. We have a new update from Washington Post. Jane describes a relationship with Diddy tangled by escorts and other women. Jane spent the past hour outlining relationships that she said Diddy had with other women when the two were dating. Jane, a pseudonym for the witness to protect her privacy, said she began a relationship with Diddy on a trip to Miami and later Turks and Caicos in early 2021. She said that as time went on, 90% of their relations involved other men, as Diddy made Jane perform in FOs, but she still considered him her lover. In one instance from 2023, Jane said Diddy took another woman to Turks and Caicos during Jane's birthday or right after her birthday. Quote, it really feels like you used me to get off and then you go off for a week. You've promised me a getaway for years and all we do is hotels, she wrote, referring to times Diddy promised her romantic getaway that turned out to be a freak off. This ties into charges that Diddy trafficked women using his charisma and wealth to lure them into positions in which they were beholden to him, both emotionally and financially. We have another update from CNN. 3 minutes ago, a juror reacts to explicit photos shown in court. Before the break, a female juror placed her hand over her face as sexually explicit photos were displayed on the screens in front of them. The jury was shown 15 photos that Jane said were taken during a hotel night. Jane testified each of the photos showed her and another man, and Diddy was present for all of them. The public was not able to see the photos. So the judge before the break or during the break, the judge told Jane Doe's lawyer, and I don't know who it is, I'm sure it's of record, to do more. The lawyer told the judge that there's YouTube accounts actively trying to expose Jane Doe's identity. And the lawyer would like the court to do something about it. Now, which YouTube account is it? I don't know. He said accounts plural. YouTube accounts actively trying to find out Jane's identity. I want to know. Let me look up the Pacer. I'm gonna look up the docket and see if anything's been put on there about anything. They're still on a break. I am looking up Diddy's docket just to see if anything's been filed today. I mean, in particular, I'm looking for anything that the judge told him to put something on the record, to put something in writing, like, over the break. Nothing new. They do all this stuff super secret. They don't really let the public in on much during this trial. Kind of strange. Let me just search, like, yes, please do not give information in the chat where people can find the Jane Doe. Let me see. And I even think, there's questions and there's arguments to be made that Jane Doe's identity should be public. People can disagree on that. However, the judge has decided and determined that her identification and her identity is not to be made public. And so I personally am trying to respect the law, even though I do agree that, a lot of stuff should be public. There's a lot of stuff being kept secret from the public in this case. But for me personally, and on my channel and stuff, I'm just not trying to get caught in the crosshairs of, like, expose for what? Like, it's just not the hill I'm trying to die on. You know what I mean? Like, there's for me, it's not the hill I'm personally trying to die on. And I'm trying to, make sure that I'm not out here getting accused of breaking the law or something by letting this be a free-for-all of guessing of who is Jane Doe. I mean, I actually, since yesterday, have had many possible identities of who Jane Doe might possibly be hidden for now from being able to even be typed, because I don't want anybody to even go that far. Again, it is kind of like, puts a big burden on the press. It puts a big burden on the public. To even me, I have this little platform. I'm not the news. This is just opinions, but it puts a big burden on people to, be trying to live report on something, and you're trying to make sure you're following the rules and all that. So all that being said, that's whatever. I've chosen to try and follow the court's order. Personally. Okay, there's some speculation about who it is and stuff, but I'm just trying to find the YouTube account. Okay, we just got to update. Who is this? NBC News. Yeah. 1 minute ago, this is NBCnews.com. Attorney for Jane says media outlets are trying to out her identity. An attorney for Jane, an ex-girlfriend of Diddy, who's speaking out in court on the condition of anonymity, says media outlets are trying to out her identity. The attorney accused the outlets of live streaming and posting articles actively attempting to uncover her client's identity. Asked the court to stop these attempts to violate the court's order. The judge said the members of the public are doing their own investigations and are making attempts to discern her identity. But he told the attorney to identify who is trying to do this and make a submission, adding that he will consider issuing a gag order to the media if someone is found to have violated the rules. But I think he only has the jurisdiction over people who have been in the courtroom. I don't know what Judge Subramanian can really do to stop, for example, like the DJ Academics of the world from trying to investigate into who is Jane Doe. I don't know. Maybe there's something he can do. I don't know. We'll have to see, but it's all going to be super secret. And maybe we'll see the documents in a week and a half because they too lazy to update and upload and, follow the court's orders. Speaking of court's orders, these lawyers are just taking their sweet time updating all these super secret behind the scenes and behind the public view. Court filings. Cecilia, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Do I think he was selling the videos online? I don't know. If we end up finding out that's what he was doing, I certainly won't come as a surprise. I won't be like, oh, no. I'll be like, yeah, I could see that. But I can't go so far as to say I think he was. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Believe, for the $4.99 super chat. I know, Chrissy, it does seem like his breath is probably stinky. Thank you for the $1.99. Thank you, Jen, for the £2 super sticker. Okay. Thank you for the $1.99, AJ. Thank you, Milena, for the 100 R's. Thank you, Elsa, for the $5 super chat. Elsa says she has been violated enough, feels gross. People feel entitled to her name. Thank you, Mary, for the $9.99 super chat. You're a pure star, and I appreciate you doing this for us. Thank you. Thank you. You can, yes. Thank you, Oklahoma. Shout out to the mods in the chat. It has been pretty crazy in here. Yeah, they probably don't want Diddy fans attacking her because they're deranged and grotesque. Have you seen the ones that are on the Diddy side of things? Ew. Who wants to be attacked by that mob? Less than a minute ago, juror reacts to explicit photos shown in court. We already read this, right? The public wasn't. Some jurors were also closing their eyes when Jane's writings from her notes apps and text threads were read. They were closing their eyes. Oh, yeah, probably like me, like, I don't know. It's hard to tell what that means. They were closing their eyes when things were read from the notes apps, the notes app and the text threads. New update from Washington Post 1 minute ago. A lawyer for Diddy's ex-girlfriend alerted the judge that social media accounts and news outlets are attempting to reveal the anonymous witness's true identity as she testifies about Diddy's alleged abuse under the court-approved alias Jane. Attempts to out Jane threaten her safety and privacy, the lawyer said while the jury was out of the room. And the witness's team is reaching out to those parties for the purposes of future enforcement. So they're sending cease and desists out to these people, I guess. The judge asked the lawyer to send along any information her team has regarding the matter. To him in super secret, so we can't see. Seven to 10 business days, we'll find out what was going on in court today. Sorry, I had to do something. No, they haven't updated the docket, but I didn't expect them to. So the most recent tweet from Inner City Press was 23 minutes ago. I'm wondering if Okay, yes. Jane is back on the stand. The jury is entering the courtroom after a short break. Jane is back on the stand. 3:40 p.m., Friday, June 6th, and we're probably going to be staying in court as late as the first week of trial, when it was ending at 5. Thank you, Amanda Weiland. Your spicy attitude gets me through my workday. Thanks so much for the $2 super chats. Erica said, I think they're talking about the ones that are actually at court. Yeah. Well, that would make it a little simpler and cleaner to do any like enforcement, because it's like if it's people that's actually at court, the judge might be able to say like you can't come back in, or like I'm banning the, outlet or whatever. Okay. Inner City Press has a good point. If someone published her license, it would violate your order. The judge said, send me what you can. I'll consider it, even over the break. And Inner City Press says 36 seconds ago, he says, but this is after it was said by the judge, nothing in the order could have a chilling effect on the media. It has had a chilling effect. It has had a chilling effect on the media. And Inner City Press says more should be said on this. Anyway, they're back. All rise. Court is now in session, saying nothing about any ex parte submission, nothing in the docket, despite the order below. Exactly. Tell them, Matthew. Russell Lee. At the very least, they should have to post this stuff on the docket, at least as a sealed document, so it goes in order. Because then it just all gets put back on and it's just a cluster. How are you going to keep track of that as the public? Jane back on the stand. Jury is entering the courtroom. Jane is on the stand. Seven minutes ago, The Independent says Jane gives emotional testimony. She testified. Hold on. She testified. Diddy asked her to get her chest pierced. She said she took the piercings out after a year because they got infected, bled, and snagged on her lingerie. She also cried when reading through old texts sent days after she saw Diddy throwing a big birthday bash for another woman he was dating in Turks and Caicos. The celebration came days after they celebrated Jane's birthday by having her sleep with 3 men in the hotel that night. Well, not sleep. They weren't sleeping. He knew that after 3 guys, I was tired. Jane testified. Okay, Fox News 33 minutes ago. Did we already read this? Court was shown a note written by Jane, November 2022. Jane wrote, I've just been waiting for you to do all the things you promised me. We both deserve love. I don't want to do substances for days and have me fulfill your freaky, wild desires. Jane said there was always a promise of quality. Yeah, I think we read this. There was always a promise of quality time, date nights, togetherness. But first, Diddy always wanted a hotel night. But then after the hotel night, they would just be too tired to do anything. They just slept. Jane did not send this note to Diddy. She shared that after the first hotel night, they went out on a yacht. The court was then shown a note Jane wrote on December 12th, 2022. She wrote, "You want to call me for what? Keep me up for 3 days straight? Date nights for someone else? I'm done being used by you." She wrote this because it was really hurtful to see Diddy so capable of romantic, loving gestures. But when it came to her, there was always excuses, she alleged. She said after these nights, she would take it upon herself to clean up as she was coming down from substances. She didn't want to think too much about what happened because it was awful. She drafted a note to Diddy. I just accept the fact that you were a pathological liar. Jane read a note from her phone. She wrote, February 12th, 2 days before Valentine's Day, 2023. Oh, this is the day after she found the pictures of Diddy with somebody else online. She testified it was about her thoughts toward Diddy. Quote, "You know what, babe? It's okay. I just accept the fact that you were a pathological liar." I think she posted some of these notes possibly online. Okay. Please pull up this exhibit. What is this? It's a note from my notes app. Were you writing what you were feeling at the time? She said, "Yes, I wrote, you lied straight to my face. You used me for a hotel night before your trip." Just refreshing the other sources. Okay, we got more quotes from the texts between Jane and Diddy. 21 minutes ago, Fox News. Jane reads texts from Diddy asking the pair to just be friends. More texts between Jane and Diddy were presented to court today. One text sent during February 2023 read, quote, "Really used me to get off. I'd like to get off the hamster wheel." Jane said that she couldn't get out of this constant cycle. She later sent, "I didn't want to do all of that on my birthday. You knew how tired I was." She broke down again, crying and tears on the stand. And she claimed that Diddy knew she was tired after having relations with 3 men and wanted to go to Turks and Caicos. Then she's just tired. That would have been nice to go on a nice, relaxing vacation. And Diddy replies, "I'm tired of you throwing sex in my face. I can't handle you comparing yourself to another woman. Let's be friends." Jane responded with a lengthy text that he was the only man she wanted to go on a trip with. And she wrote that she felt she was taken advantage of and lied to by him. Diddy responded that he wanted them to be friends and he was tired of the long texts telling him what he was doing was wrong. Jane wrote back, quote, "I feel like I do everything right by you and I'm treated as less than. You're breaking my heart by asking to be friends." She was sobbing as she read this text out loud, and she continued, "I don't deserve this. Anything you've asked me," Diddy replied, "Anything you've asked me for, I've done." Jane said that wasn't true. Over the next few days after these texts were sent, Diddy texted Jane, but she did not respond for about 13 days. She told the court she remembers taking a couple of weeks away from Diddy. Question, when you took a break from Diddy, where did you travel? She said France. Diddy started texting me again and again. Paris, Paris, Paris. How did that make you feel? Jane said that he cared. but I knew I had to stay strong. And I went away for 5 days. Oh, Paris, Paris, Paris. That's a hotel in Vegas, right? So when you took a break from Diddy, where did you travel? I went to France, and then he started texting me again, Paris, Paris, Paris. I don't know what that means. I don't know why he's texting Paris, Paris, Paris. And then she's saying I had to stay strong. Okay. So that's the most recent one there. I got a feeling Washington Post needs to update soon. NBC is lagging. Let's see. Let's roll this dice. Nope. Independent? Do 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 do. Okay. When he was texting me, it made me feel like he cared, but I knew I had to stay strong, and I went away for 5 days. He was adamant that we should see each other. I missed him too. Why? Because I love him. Soon we were planning to go to Turks. I'd go to Miami first. What did Diddy write to you? He said a night of debauchery and then to the beach. Oh my God. He couldn't just freaking take the poor girl on a simple vacation once. But again, I'm just wondering, she took 5 days away. She could have just said, ugh, no. And does that mean I don't understand why she didn't? Of course not. I do understand why she didn't. However, we are talking about locking somebody away for the rest of their life. So we gotta look at what Diddy's lawyers are gonna say. We gotta look at what's actually fair. And I do think they did start laying that groundwork because of those aggressive voice notes, or that aggressive voice note. But this jury seems to already like Diddy and be on his side. But apparently Tisa said that them jurors ain't even looking at him. That's what I think Tiffany told me that. Just waiting for, I don't know what they're doing. Are they looking at texts? When you took a break from Sean, where did you travel? I went to France. He started texting me again and again, Paris, Paris, Paris. Made me feel like he cared, but I knew I had to stay strong, and I went away for 5 days. He was adamant that we should see each other, and I missed him too because I love him, and soon we were planning to go to Turks. I would go to Miami first. He wrote to me a night of debauchery and then to the beach. I bet you they didn't make it to the beach, and if they did make it to Turks, it was just for freak-offs. Jane said no. We have to reconnect. He said, cool. Did that turn out to be true? No. What did you do in Miami? We bickered about Paris. He said his girl can't just up and leave like that. What is this photo? Jane said it's our dinner. He said, let's have a night of debauchery and then go to the beach. She said, no. We have to reconnected. I don't know what that means. Do we have to be reconnected or we have to reconnect? But he said, cool. But it didn't turn out to be true. When I was in Miami, we just bickered about Paris. And he was like, you can't just up and leave. Turns out I can because I did. Updating the other sources. No, 19 minutes ago. 7 minutes ago here. What they saying? Jane wrote that Diddy, this is the independent.com, Jane wrote that Diddy is a pathological liar. Prosecutors had Jane read a note from her phone from February 2023. The note was a drafted message to Diddy. You know what, babe? It's okay. I just accept the fact that you are a pathological liar, Jane wrote. Okay, so what did you do in Miami? We bickered about Paris. He said his girl can't just up and leave like that. What is this photo of? Jane said, our dinner. Then what? She said, he took a pill. We went to a hotel. We were watching Corn. And Diddy said, do you want Don? What did you say? Jane said, yes. Why did you say yes? She said, I was just used to it. But then we went to Turks and Caicos. Oh, Lord. Here we go again with the... Yeah, dating Diddy sounds horrible. And I think he even said it. Hold on. I was banning someone. Let me go on. This is what's going on with Twitter. But this is going to be tough because they're going to be like, okay, so whenever Diddy said, do you want Don? You just said yes, so you could go to a fancy trip to Turks and Caicos. That's what they're going to say. I'm surprised they have gone this long without showing one choke, one kick. I mean, she's been on the stand for a day. Okay, 2 minutes ago, Jane is back on the witness stand after a brief break from emotional testimony. She's back on the stand after a brief break. Following her emotional testimony, she's been going through old text messages and notes she wrote Diddy in the past. Maureen Comey continued the direct examination of Jane. Another one of her notes from February 22nd, 2023 was also shown to the court. She wrote, quote, you lie straight to my face. All you wanted was another hotel night. Can't get this image of you lying to my face out of my head. She wrote that she deprived herself of romance and love and deep, meaningful connections during her relationship with Diddy. She was feeling regret and thought that she was wasting precious time. We got the whole Twitter shut down. Let me see if I can pull it up on my phone. Oh my gosh. Somebody said, no, he wanted Don. He wants Don. Somebody said, yay, she finally made it to Turks. That's definitely what they're going to argue. They're going to say, you did all this for a vacation. But okay, good news. Inner City Press hasn't tweeted again, so we didn't miss anything. The most recent one was hold on, I gotta get to the bottom. We bickered about Paris. He said his girl just can't up and leave like that. This is a photo of our dinner. Then he took a pill. We went to a hotel. We were watching corn. He said, "Do you want Don?" What did you say? Yes. She could have said no, right? Like, I'm still waiting for, frankly, the crime. I mean, the drug, there's substances, there's the prostitution, but like, yeah, he paid her rent. I see that. I know that, but like, doesn't your boss also pay your rent and you can quit your job? It's kind of like, I just already hear Nicole Westmoreland in my mind, just like cussing this lady out in legal form. It's not, and I do believe her. I believe she was manipulated. I believe he was mean to her. I believe the things she is saying, but that is not necessarily going to prove a crime yet. I don't think. Like it will. I think she's done a really good job to prove, in my opinion, I think she's done a really good job to prove the commercial acts. Because with Cassie, it was kind of like, maybe a couple times she gave money. There was money, this, that. But then Cassie was the one giving the money. This is like Diddy giving money from Diddy to somebody that flew cross state lines. And that is one of the 3 to 5 things that Diddy is charged with, is the interstate trafficking for the purpose of. Okay, Twitter's back up. Oh my God, I knew it. Turks and Caicos was a ruse just to have another freak off. She wanted to go to a vacation, and he's just having freak off after freak off. She said, then we went to Turks, and then in Turks and Caicos, Paul came in. Then what happened? She said, I'm back in an outfit, going to try to do another round. It was really painful. I couldn't do it. I was extremely sore at this point. Diddy tried to make it happen with his trusty handy dandy Astro. Now, one thing though that will help in her testimony is that she was on substances. And she said when she tried to do it not on substances, she just really couldn't. So part of the racketeering scheme is that he plied the victims with substances. So that does go to that. Nobody's saying nothing. What are they doing in this courtroom? Oh, finally. We got one from a minute ago, Wesley Parnell. Jane said she tried to distance herself from Diddy for a period in early 2023. He texted her, called her, and had his butler and assistant reach out to her. Okay, racketeering enterprise, right? The butler and the assistant reached out to her. Diddy eventually sent her a message saying he would like to make up for her missed birthday by going on a lavish trip. Jane agreed to reconnect. I remember that's when Diddy and I started opening communication again. We were bickering, but he was adamant that we should see each other. And I missed him as well. And I did want to see him. And I loved him. Oh my God, this is crazy. All right, now we're finally getting to it, I think, y'all. And again, if I'm the prosecution, I'm going to put a kick, a slap, a threat. I'm going to put something before now. But here we go. It's starting to come out. So she said she couldn't even participate. She couldn't do the performance. She already had done a freak off. She just couldn't. She was just sore. Then Diddy tried to use the Astro glide, but no. Jane said, Diddy said to me, you can't take any more beep. I threw the bracelet and I said, you only brought me here to suck beep for you. I was talking. Then I sat on the steps of a villa. Did Diddy talk? Yes, he did. And you know what he said? He said, how can you make me look like that in front of Paul? Okay, so part of the racketeering indictment, part of the whole indictment is that Diddy did these things. One of the reasons in the goals of the enterprise was to protect Diddy's feelings and to protect his reputation. So here we have more evidence. See, these, just because this girl isn't going to have or this lady isn't going to have a slam dunk home run, everything total, we do get stuff in here that's very important. Like, how can you make me look like that in front of Paul? Showing that everybody needed to protect his reputation. Everybody needed to protect what he wanted and what he was looking like, what he looked like. How can you make me look like that in front of Paul? She said, you only brought me here to do this S act. You deranged freak. You sicko. And his response was, how could you make me look like that in front of Paul? Worrying about himself. I'm still like stuck on her telling him she just threw up, and he said, oh, good, you'll feel better. Come on, let's go. The next guy is here. The third guy. Third. Okay. Diddy told me to apologize to Paul. I messaged him and said I was sorry about how I acted and that I was really glad he came out to see me. Who told you to do that? Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs told me to do that. We have an update from CNN. Jury sees Jane's notes reflecting her frustration towards Diddy less than a minute ago. The jury saw more of Jane's writings from her notes app, which she said she sometimes copied into messages to Diddy. February 2023, she wrote, quote, all you wanted was another hotel night and use me before your trip, like you've been doing to me for 2 years. You lied and said you had no time for me because you were stressed with work. She also wrote she wanted anything outside of these hotels from Diddy. It was a joke to him. And she said she was tired of being used every Friday to get on substances. Refreshing our sources. Jane testified that Diddy attempted to win her back. She said she stopped responding to Diddy. He started reaching out a lot more, either personally or through his assistant. While taking a break from the rapper, Jane went to Paris for Fashion Week. Once Diddy caught wind that she was going, he allegedly texted her and called her 30 times in a row. This made Jane feel like Diddy cared. She was in Paris for 4 or 5 days and began communicating with Diddy when she returned. He was allegedly adamant that he saw her, and she agreed because she loved him. The texts were then shown from March 12th, 2023, of the two planning on going to Turks and Caicos. Jane said she was planning to go to Miami before the trip. Diddy wrote in messages shown, plan a night of debauchery and fun, then straight to the airport, ... Jane said Diddy wanted a hotel night. She did not want to have relations with another man. She said she believed there would not be any entertainers or hotel nights on this trip. How do we know he was not making money from this footage? Live streaming, feeling like Hustlers University vibes. Look, The government has not alleged that yet. But I told y'all I will not be surprised if we end up finding this out at some point. Thanks so much, Laughing Girl Art, for the 99.99 czars. Diddy needs more than therapy. I think he might need exorcism. CJC Love. Yep. Miss Me with the Bull Partner said she also has proved she's proved a lot. She's also proved his workers would set things up as well. And she has the picture of the hotel with the red light. Annie said, anyone else wondering why this is a thing? I have seen people asking about the Janice thing, like he grew up around it. Waiting for an update. Can we move on? What's this? It's over? Hold on. Just waiting for another update to come through. Cajun Queen said, I don't think the Pope himself could do the exorcism for Diddy. This man, at some point, like, you do got to just believe him when he tells you who he is. Diddy suggested a birthday makeup trip and then proposed that it include a hotel night, Jane says. This is less than a minute ago, CNN.com. Jane said that she didn't respond to Diddy after they fought following her 2023 birthday celebration that ended with a hotel night. But Diddy continued to call and text her a lot. So they fought. So they went to the birthday celebration and it ended with a hotel night with 3 men. And so they fought. And so then she just stopped responding to him because she saw that girl with the birthday or the other date he went on. But Diddy continued to call and text her. He also had some of his staff, including his assistant and a butler, reach out to her, Jane testified. And she said she didn't respond to any of them. She said she had scheduled a trip to Paris Fashion Week after her flight. After she fought with Diddy, she scheduled a trip to Paris Fashion Week. She said it had been over 2 years since she had gone on a trip on her own. A few hours before her flight, Diddy started texting her repeatedly about Paris, and then he called her phone like 30 times in a row. Jane said she hadn't told him about the trip, and she had no idea how he found out. She testified she didn't respond, even though she said it made her feel like he cared. She went to Paris for like 5 days, and when she got back, she and Diddy started talking again. We were bickering, but he was adamant that we should see each other, and I missed him as well. She said Diddy told her to come to Miami so they could figure out a trip together as a birthday makeup trip. Jane read some messages between her and Diddy from March 12th, 2023. She testified that they had been talking about planning the makeup trip to Turks and Caicos. In the messages, Diddy said they should plan a night of debauchery and fun and then straight to the airport. Jane testified that meant he wanted a hotel night, but she responded, I just want us. We need to reconnect. So she did tell him no. Cool, he said. Jane testified in Miami before the trip, they were bickering about Paris. He was just showing just agitation about the fact that I just up and left and how his girl can't do that. Uh-oh, we're back in Twitter crashed land. Let me check on my phone. I'm checking Inner City Press Twitter on my phone because it's doing this thing again. Okay. So there is another tweet. I'll read it to you. The most recent one that we read was Diddy told me to apologize to Paul. I messaged him and said I was sorry about how I acted. I was really glad he came out to see me. Who told you to do that? Diddy. Okay, next question. What did you write to Sly if he could come to Turks? I told him he would need a passport and a vaccination. What did he respond? I'm willing, but I don't have a vaccination card, he said. Uh-oh, we about to hear about Diddy faking a... Sly on the sly, not able to fly, somebody said. The prosecution is airing out all of her dirty laundry over questions that may be crossed, so it's not new to the jury. Hold on, I'm just seeing if I can update here because the Twitter is doing this right now. So she texted Sly. Why did you write to Sly and Paul? I wanted them to feel good, like they were not being used. Why? I don't know. I just did. What was the love contract in March 2023? He asked, how much did I want per month? I said $15,000. He said 10. I'll show you all the tweets when the Twitter comes back up. Oh, there it is. So it says, Diddy told me to apologize to Paul. I messaged him. I said I was sorry how I acted. Because remember, what did she do? Paul came in. I'm in an outfit. I'm going to try to do another round, but I was in pain. I couldn't have relations. It was just, I was so extremely sore. Diddy then tried to astro glide. He said, you can't take any more beep. And I threw my bracelet and I said, you only brought me here to suck beep for you. I was talking and then I sat on the steps of a villa. Did Diddy talk? Ooh. Hold on, I lost my spot. Yeah, he said, how can you make me look like that in front of Paul? He told me to apologize to Paul. I messaged him and I said I was sorry, that I was really glad he came out to see me. Who told you to do that? Diddy. What did you write to Sly? If he could come to Turks, I told him he would need a passport and a vaccination. He said, I'm willing, but I don't have a vaccination card. Why did you do this? To make it up to Diddy. Why did you write this way to Sly and Paul? She said, I don't know. I wanted them to feel good, like they were not being used. Why? I just do. What was the love contract? March 2023. Diddy asked, how much did I want per month? I said 15,000 and he said 10. He started paying your rent? Yes. Who is paying your rent now? Diddy. Wait, so 2023? Are we sure that was 2023? She dated him for 2 years and then entered the love contract? What? So he wasn't even paying her bills for the first 2 years? I think that might be a typo. Let's see if we get more context from other outlets. 4 minutes ago, Washington Post, Wesley Parnell, jurors are looking at images of Diddy and Jane on vacation in 2023. Diddy on a beach smiling, the couple posing cheerily. The supposedly one-on-one trip was Diddy's idea to win Jane back after she tried to cool their relationship. she testified. But shortly after arriving, Diddy seemed bored and invited a male escort and a personal trainer to join them. We had another one of those long nights, Jane told the jury, who did not know an escort would be joining them. At one point, she said she had relations for more than 24 hours. She said it was just really painful. I was extremely sore at this point. He don't know when to stop. It is like totally using someone. Never been in a relationship with a contract. Tequila said, I've never been in a relationship with a contract. It was just a relationship. What were the stipulations? I mean, good question. Somebody said he sounded like a pump. He can't stop. The evil knows no limits. It's just he's a taker. He's a taker. And he's not doing no work but hanging out in the corner, Beatrice said. He's still paying her rent, they said. It's not his body, so he don't care. He's a what can you do for me and only me type of person. He's just using her body like a blow-up doll, somebody said. He can't stop. He can't stop himself. If this stuff is true, I don't know. I wasn't there. What else did Diddy pay for? My teeth? What do you mean? Diddy didn't like my teeth. I got new veneers. He also paid to furnish my house. My allowance just didn't do it. I used 3 credit cards. It does sound like she was more of a S worker. It does seem like it was like she was getting paid to have relations with him. And I don't know when the love contract actually was, if it was 2023 or if that was a typo. But if it was 2023, that makes it even more like, wait, what? Who was paying her rent before 2023? Six minutes ago, the independent.com, Diddy and his staff reached out to Jane after they fought, she testifies. She testified that she fought with Diddy after her 2023 birthday celebration. And afterward, both Diddy and his staff reached out to her, but she said she didn't respond. Cassie gave similar testimony earlier in the trial, telling the jury that Diddy and his staff would repeatedly contact her if she didn't answer his calls. Jane says, 1 minute ago, Fox News, Jane says Diddy attempted to make up for her birthday with a trip to Turks and Caicos. Once Jane and Diddy made it to Miami, they went to dinner and bickered about Paris, she testified. She said she really loved this moment because she really missed him. After dinner, they took a pill, went to a hotel, watched Corn, and in the middle of her being on substances, then he asked, "Do you want Don?" She said she had grown accustomed to the rhythm of things, so she agreed. She knew it would make him happy. Pictures were then shown from the couple's trip to Turks and Caicos. There was a picture of Diddy taken by Jane showing the strong winds. Jane said on day 2 or 3, Paul arrived. They met Paul at the hotel and had another one of those long nights. It lasted about 24 hours, according to Jane. Jane recalled after it was done, she was happy that the relations with the other man were over. She was in her villa with Diddy. He gets this look like he still wants more and started saying, "Do you have more in you?" She said she didn't hesitate too much, but she wasn't screaming for it. And she called Paul and invited him back to the villa. She remembers Diddy giving her a bracelet with 2 hearts. She embraced him and thanked him and felt loved by him. And then Paul came in. Paul was really nice, but I was just really tired. And she said she was back in an outfit. She was planning for round 4 with Paul after 24 hours already. She said it was just really painful. And so she couldn't do it. She said no. And she got in a fight with Diddy and threw the bracelet. Note, traffickers and pumps disguise control as love or generosity, making it harder for victims to actually recognize that it's abuse and break free. And he paid for her teeth. He didn't like her teeth, so she got veneers. Just refreshing through the other sources. Nothing still new here. Still the most recent is, hold on, let me take this moment to do some AstroTurf management. My God, they are out here on this one. Oh, Lord. Somebody said Diddy really has burner accounts on here tweeting in support of him. It really feels like it. Oh, man. Okay, hold on here. Most recent tweet was still 7 minutes ago. I don't know what they're doing. 17 minutes ago on CNN. Can we move on? NBC, most recent was an hour ago. Washington Post, 13 minutes ago. Independent, 12 minutes ago. Fox News, 6 minutes ago. Okay. Oh my God, this is not good. Whew, okay. My allowance. Okay, he didn't like my teeth. I got new veneers. He also paid to furnish the house. My allowance wasn't enough. I used 3 credit cards. I had promised him an all-star party. What's that? I would bring the top 3 guys all in the same night. Why? I was with my lover and he liked that. I told him I have to be awake at 8 a.m. on Sunday. I said the last time I got sick. Why does she do it? She's not saying because he would beat me, because he threatened me. She just said because I loved him. I do understand she loved him, but she's offering. She promised an all-star party. She should have just could have said no. It's very hard to like, where is the force on this one? It does kind of start to sound like she did just want $15,000 a month. I mean, at some point, like, okay, here's the thing. If we're going to live in this society where everybody's like okay with everything and lets people my body, my choice, like, so what? You can't promise to do freak offs to have your bills paid. I do think he abused her, but like with Cassie, it was like she was getting chased down. She tried to be with Kid Cudi and a car got blew up. Now, did Diddy do that? I don't know. She entered a 2-year love contract. What the hell is that? CNN.com less than a minute ago. She love contract. This is like deal with the devil level. In 2023, this is 2 years after she'd been dating him. Why? Why? She entered a 2-year love contract in 2023 after the trip to Turks and Caicos that she said was so bad. Asked Jane what she wanted as a monthly allowance, and they agreed to $10,000. She spent on rent for a new home. She said they agreed on a 2-year contract because it matched the time they had already spent together, and Jane said she moved into a house where Diddy paid the rent. Who's paying your rent right now? Diddy's paying her rent currently, right now. So that could be a scheme on Diddy's part, because you knew if he was going to stop paying her rent, that was another evidence against him. Jane testifies Diddy is still paying her rent. That probably did make it harder to testify against him. In March 2023, she said she and Diddy made an agreement that he would pay her a monthly allowance. I said $15,000 and he said $10,000. I started looking for new places and moved into a new house and used that budget. I wanted something big and spacious for my child and I to enjoy, a place I could go home to and enjoy, some sense of balance in the relationship. I had been giving my all to him, all my love, and this was him giving me something. When asked by prosecution what she would have to do as part of the agreement, she said she could get money for everything without pressure for 2 years. So she said, I didn't like them freak offs. I didn't want to do them freak offs. You need to pay my bills, $15,000 a month, and I don't want any pressure to do actual stuff for 2 years because I've been giving you my everything and now you need to pay me back. Diddy was paying her rent then and is actually still paying her rent now. She said the allowance was not enough to furnish the new apartment, adding that she opened 3 credit cards and went into debt to buy furniture. But why? Why? Oh man, I don't know about this, y'all. I do feel bad for her, but I don't know where they're exactly going with this. All right. So where we left off with Inner City Press, she had promised Diddy an all-star party because she loved him. This is where she would bring in the top 3 guys in the same night. I told him I needed to be awake at 8 a.m. on Sunday. I said the last time I got sick. This first text, what does it say? She said he felt hesitation from me about the all-star party and he asked, does your private parts hurt? You're not being straight with me. And the second one, a minute later, he quoted my text asking for help with more furniture for the house. Like, do you want this furniture? Come get this furniture or not. You need to. Ew. Diddy writes here, Rico is ready. Who was that? She said, maybe the man named Michael, or wait, maybe it was a role play and Sean was Rico. Maybe he was Rico. But you don't know. No, I don't know. I don't remember who is Rico. I don't know. Rico is ready is a nice warning for things to come. But Diddy texted her, Rico is ready. And he sent her a picture of her asking for more furniture for her house. We got a new update from CNN. Less than a minute ago, Jane says Diddy paid for her veneers because he didn't like her teeth. Around the same time, that happened with one of my dad's exes. She had the most messed up teeth, girl. Woo, girl, them teeth. Woo, they were bad. But he dated her and was like actually with her for like 10 years or something. But never did marry her, refused to marry her, which I don't blame him. But I think he got tired of looking at her teeth. Around the same time that Diddy started paying. Oh, girl, I'm judging. My teeth were the worst of the worst. So I can judge teeth because mine were bad. I mean, I got braces. This is all my real teeth. But listen, I had to wear braces for about 5 years in total. So listen. Anyway, he didn't like her teeth. Between April and August of 2023, Jane and Diddy saw each other frequently, always for hotel nights. At one point in that time, so this love contract was like, she says it was like, I already did all this sexual stuff for you and I shouldn't have to do it now. But like, I could see how Diddy's lawyers are probably going to turn it into, this was a contract and you were going to do S work. At one point in that time, Jane texted Diddy complaining she hadn't seen him. She testified that she meant that she hadn't seen him alone outside of a hotel room. He responded, well, get over it, please. Look at the roof over your head and that pretty smile. I don't want to do anything if that's still an issue. He's like, I don't want to hang out with you at all. Look, stop. Like, I think he wanted her to stop complaining about the hotel nights. And she's saying something opposite. She's saying that it was supposed to be no more pressure for hotel nights for 2 years, which it's so hard to know if Diddy would have said something like that or not, because I do think he is a liar. So it's just so hard to know at this point. And especially, I'm not in the courtroom. I'm just reading, news articles. All right. NBC News gives us a little more insight, more details into the text message exchanges. Jane testifies that Diddy is still paying her rent. Those jurors that already like Diddy are not, this is going to be fodder for them. In March 2023, she said she and Diddy made an agreement that he would pay her a monthly allowance. She said, I started looking for new places, moved into a new home, and used that budget, wanted something big and spacious. I'd been giving him all my love. When asked by prosecution what she would have to do, she said, get money for everything without pressure for 2 years. In August 2023, Diddy texted her asking, quote, are we getting freaky tonight? It isn't clear what she responded, but Diddy texted back, well, get over it, please. Look at the roof over your head. Diddy was paying her rent then and is still paying her rent now, she disclosed. She said the allowance was not enough to furnish her new place, adding that she opened 3 credit cards and went into debt to buy furniture. It's just like, I mean, I know a lot of people in this chat grew up poor with single moms and, the dad wasn't paying the child support and stuff. And it's like, I know moms have to do what they have to do. But like, to what end? Like, she wasn't even spending time with her kid if she was doing this half the week every week. And I'm not judging her. I believe that Diddy abused her. I believe it. But we're in federal court for a criminal case. And I was expecting to see the beating, the kicking, the berating, the throwing things. Like, this is what we've seen from other victims, and that makes it a lot easier for me to understand why they couldn't run away, because they run away, they get chased down. But this lady, after 2 years of doing this, enters into a love contract. Why would you want to be in a contract of love with someone who you obviously know is the devil. Again, maybe Dr. Don Hughes will get up and explain it. Okay, 3 minutes ago, Wesley Parnell said, Diddy is still paying her rent, Jane said, even as she testifies against him. This is part of the verbal love contract that she and Diddy agreed to in 2023. The contract stipulated $10,000 a month payment to Jane and is a key feature of their relationship. Now, see, maybe this is supposed to be proven like institution, across state lines, commercial S acts. Maybe that's what this is. Maybe she's sort of being framed as a girlfriend, but really they're trying to show the jury this is Diddy paying for S work, maybe, because that is one of the crimes other than the RICO. The contract stipulated a $10,000 a month payment to Jane and is a key feature of their relationship and how prosecutors allege Diddy wielded influence over her. Jane, this is a pseudonym, described how each time she saw him after the contract was agreed upon, she was still forced to perform S acts with other men. And if she did not wish to participate, Diddy would follow up with a threat. Jurors have already seen text messages where Jane told Diddy she did not want to feel beholden to him at the expense of losing her home. But she agreed to that, did she not? Why did you send Diddy a photo of pink toilet paper to show him it was the time of the month and it was about to come down and I needed the night off? Let's postpone. What did he write back? Oh, so you're getting your hair done for nothing? I'm done, Diddy said. And this is the second time we've heard Diddy allegedly, we've seen testimony from people who say that Diddy is just very callous. Third time, actually, from Cassie too. Third time. Why did you send Diddy a picture of this toilet paper? To show him that I was in the time of the month and I needed the night off. Let's postpone. What did he text you back? You're getting your hair done for nothing. I'm done. Like, if you're getting your hair done, you have to be my S slave. I mean, that's helpful for the testimony. I still feel like they could have put some of these threats and stuff up earlier, but I do think they were just going chronological on this witness to just show how it started out and how the grooming thing works. I'm not sure it's going to be effective, but I do think that is what they are doing or trying to do, the prosecution. Just now, Ann Brannigan, Washington Post, Diddy doesn't just pay Jane's rent. He's also paid for her teeth because he didn't like them. He wanted me to go to this dentist and get new veneers. Was it Jimmy Lee? I'm just curious. It was Diddy's assistant, Christina Karam, who made the appointment for her. So she made the piercing appointment. She made the veneers appointment. Later, Diddy referred to these gifts when Jane pushed back against his wishes. Quote, "Look at the roof over your head and that pretty smile," Diddy said to her in a text after she told him she didn't want to do debauchery, meaning a hotel night. I do think it could be proving the racketeering now. Okay, we're starting to get into some more evidence of, like, look at that pretty smile. It shows that it's transactional, which is technically transactions for S acts under force, fraud, or coercion is illegal. Okay. And you're not going to prove the whole case on any one witness regardless. Gifts. They're not gifts. Exactly, pretty girl. They're not gifts. These are transactions. These are things the women have to pay him back. A love contract in a polyamorous relation is wild. Blue Sky said, I think they're trying to prove X trafficking. Jade, I totally agree. Jade said, this KK needs to take a long, hard swallow of her own part in all of this and be brought to court. Yo-Yo said multiple things can be true at the same time. And you are right. Absolutely. Absolutely. She's a victim and a gold digger that fell for her abuser. Two things can be right. You're right. You're right. You're right. Just say she's living in California. Diddy is a biohazard, Corinne said. This may be the time when he found out. Tish said this might be the time he found out he was going to be investigated. Yes, this is a live stream. Yes. Carlos said Diddy is definitely testifying. Y'all, I will be so surprised if he don't testify. Like, can you imagine him sitting in there just silently and never saying his piece? Yes, it does show a pattern of behavior for the RICO. Abid said there's no way he wasn't generating revenue. I see this as an investment on his property. He had to be generating some revenue with these FOs. I don't know. Maybe. I wasn't there, but I see where you're coming from. Yeah, this is a good point too, Raquel. According to ChatGPT, Diddy can still get charged with the ST, even if there was no force, fraud, coercion, just transporting another person for the purpose of a commercial S act. Yes. Trauma bond. Exactly. I definitely can see that. Does anyone know when Diddy found out he was being investigated? I don't. But who said that? Said, I think they're just trying to air out all the dirty laundry ahead of the defense. And that they have to, because they're going to be, they're going to be bringing it up. And another thing too, y'all, a lot of us would never get in this situation because we just wouldn't for any amount of reasons. But that doesn't mean somebody else might not, find themselves in a situation like this. Like for me, like, I don't imagine how I could fall. Like, absolutely. I could see myself going down a certain amount. Absolutely. Especially when in the beginning he was so nice and it was so fun. But then like after that, like I was throwing up and he said, oh good, now you're going to be ready for the next one. Like I think I would like, there was a certain few moments where it's like, I know that for me, but I'm not in this situation, but for me, I would be like, no, I'm done. I can't anymore. When you told me for my birthday, I wasn't going to have to do this at all. And come to find out, first guy comes in, we switch rooms. You got a freaking birthday cake and a balloon. And then the next one comes in, nobody says a word. And I got to do it with him. And then the next one comes in, another one, a third one. I could have even seen myself, if I'm in Jane's position, I might see how she continued and did it. But like for me, I know that would have been like the throwing up and he said, good, you're going to be ready for the next one. And this for me, unless maybe we're not hearing there was some violence or whatever. But whenever they asked her why she was doing it, she said, I was still loving him. And I know it's hard for a lot of us to be like, what? But I do believe that's possible. And I do believe she's even telling the truth. But it does make it more difficult to prove the force, fraud, coercion whenever she was saying at times, yeah, I'll do this, I'll do that. But however, all that said, Diddy had reason to know she was not fully consenting because she said it over and over for years. She didn't want to do these FOs, but then she would do them. So Diddy at least knew she was saying with words she didn't want to do them. And it's going to come down to what the jury is thinking. What did you mean movie night was not on my mind? Jane said we would not have an entertainer. We would just watch our own movies of the hotel nights. We called it a movie night. Okay, breaking. Movie night is a code word. for Diddy and Jane to watch videos of the past hotel nights with each other. What did you write? I wrote, why do you talk about the father of my child? All because you don't get your way one night and kick your sick rocks off? What did he say back in this voice message? He said, I don't have time, baby girl. So what did you write? I wrote, why do you talk about the father of my child? All because you don't get your way one night at the freak off. And Diddy sends back a voice note saying, I don't have time, baby girl. We have a new update from Washington Post 2 minutes ago. Anne Brannigan, Jane, who is alleging that Diddy ST'd her, has spent a lot of Friday reading aloud long chains of text messages between her and Diddy, explaining in fine detail the acts that she said she felt obligated to participate in, as Diddy flexed more psychological and financial control over her. Jane is a pseudonym. She was in the middle of reading. This is interesting. She was in the middle of reading another long text chain when someone in the courtroom sneezed. Jane didn't break stride, giving a reflexive "bless you" before pressing on. She seems like a really sweet lady. She blessed somebody. Why do you talk about the father of my child? All because you don't get your way one night. And Diddy said back in a voice message, I don't have time. Baby girl. Updating, refreshing my other sources here. Jesus. Jane claims, 2 minutes ago, Fox News, Jane claims she promised Diddy an all-star party of the top 3 to 4 men. The court looked at a text from Diddy August 4th, 2023. This is 2 or 3 months before he got sued by Cassie. He asked Jane, are we getting freaky tonight? Look at that roof over your head and that pretty smile. They look at more texts from Diddy where he wrote, you've been hyping me up for weeks about the 18th. Jane said she had promised him an all-star party, which was inviting the top 3 or 4 guys and bringing them all on one night. She had agreed to this because she was on substance and with her lover. She said she could tell he was already getting into a bad mood. In additional texts, Jane apologizes for not having things planned properly. At the time, there was a hurricane coming to LA. Diddy allegedly texted, text me the truth. I'm hearing bull beep. It's not even about the effing freak off. This text was Diddy feeling hesitation from Jane about the all-star party, she alleged. Diddy's voice, you need to get on your job. How did you interpret that? Making sure he's happy, including these nights? And how did you respond? that he always brought up paying for the house. It felt like, I don't know, this guilt trip. So Diddy said on the voice note, I don't have time, baby girl. You need to get on your job, which meant making sure he was happy, which meant also these hotel nights. So yeah, this is the thing about the this is the thing about the institution stuff. Even if she's willing, even if she wasn't coerced or defrauded, this contract where Diddy pays her money and clearly expects sexual service in return, that is not legal to do, especially across state lines. The feds will come to get you eventually. But Sam says this does go to coercion, even if, because if she wasn't putting on a show, it was gone. I guess that's a good point. I mean, I could see that argument. And it's going to come down to what arguments are made in this case by these lawyers, because each case is case by case. Thanks so much, TRS, Daughter of the King, for the $1.99 super sticker. Tequila said, is that contract visible to us as the public? No, they said it was a verbal contract. Thank you for the $1.99. I was thinking this too, Lauren. I was thinking this too. It's giving Nexium. It is kind of reminding me of that. Thank you, Deborah, for the $9.99 super sticker. Chicago Curtis said she never considered he did this to all women. I don't know. Maybe she did. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Shout out to Lindsay becoming a new member. As women, we always think it's our fault. Yeah. Thank you for the $2. Elsa, she was broken before Diddy found her. Elsa said, thank you for the $2. Yeah, no, I know. Yeah. Annie said, look at the roof and that pretty smile. That's him saying, I paid for that. And now you got to do your job in return. You better get on your job, he said. No woman wants this kind of relationship. I totally agree. But I mean, I can't speak for all women. He himself called it a job. Yes. This job stuff definitely does make it seem like he had hired her to do this job. I think he's going to testify because his ego, I agree. His lawyers are going to tell him not to, but they can't stop him. Jade said he is over. He did call it her job. So it sounds to me like he was paying bills in exchange for X work. Mm-hmm. He was treating her like she was a S worker and he was the pump. Thanks so much, Aaron Patterson, for the $1.49 Australian. Brianne Gilmore said, I bet her teeth wasn't even that bad. He did that to give her an insecurity. And I think that's how his mind, do I think that's how his mind works? Could be. Thank you, Kitty Zilla. Meow, for the $1.99 super sticker. The entertainers made more a month than she did. It's the truth. Am I going to make an I Rebuke shirt? I wasn't planning on it, but I guess I could. Anything's possible. Lady Pamela said, I believe he started to threaten her after the first FO about releasing the tapes, and she was twistedly in love. It's complicated. We can't judge from where we're sitting. No, but you know what else too, Lady Pamela? They should say this. The prosecutors should say something about this because they left that part out and it's very important. They should bring this testimony out. If he was threatening her to release tapes, absolutely. That is context. That's very important. And we can't know. But I do think that needs to be brought up if that's true. Because it wasn't brought up to what I could tell so far. 1 minute ago, NBC News, Diddy was upset at Jane for postponing hotel night when she was unwell. Texts in court read by Jane show Diddy became irritated at her when she postponed an all-star hotel night because she was on her time of the month and feeling unwell. An all-star hotel night involves more than one entertainer at one time. So this is a train. This is a train. She said she texted Diddy that her body hit a wall and she didn't want to do substances. To which he responded, "So drink champagne." When she told him she got the time of the month, she shared a picture with him proving it. You know, she had to show a picture proving it, because if there was no picture proving it, then Diddy would say, you lying. You getting your hair done for no reason. She told him she got the time of the month, shared a picture proving it. He accused her of acting weird as F. F you for real. Leave me alone, Diddy said, because yeah, don't bother Diddy with your feminine hygiene issues. Please. He is gonna freak out over that. You know, he half-ass don't even like women. So, and I don't know if that's not me saying he likes men either, but he might hate everybody because how he treats this woman, how he's treated these other women who work for him, who all this stuff, according to their testimony, which a large part of it, I believe, he hates women. So anything having to do with feminine hygiene, he seems to have like a very serious issue. He seems to have like a flash out moment. I don't know if this is something that maybe he's got as one of his mind control triggers or what. But she's like, you're acting weird. But he's like, you're acting weird as F. F you for real. Leave me alone, Diddy texted. Jane texted back that she had been giving him hotel nights for 2.5 years, and she's not a liar, a cheater, or a sex robot. We just need to have a serious talk about everything. Diddy did not respond to her for 3 weeks, so he shut her out. F you for real. Leave me alone. How dare you have a time of the month? How dare you? Well, poor Cassie, she was having to do it during it, and it would get all over the hotel, she said. I think this is a good time to break for the day and the week. Jurors, thanks for staying late. Avoid any coverage about the case. Yeah, right. This freaking jury is so... Barbie Gone Bad said, what a great witness for the prosecution. She's proven institution, transporting, rug ficking, sex transporting with coercion of leveraging her home payments to engage in commercial acts, and Diddy's voice note acknowledging it's her job. It is pretty big evidence that there's a voice note of him saying, you better get on your job. That is big evidence. So let's see what they're going to be fighting about, if anything, before they leave for the weekend. It's going to be Jane Doe on the stand for like the whole next week till probably Wednesday. We finally get a little evidence of a threat. Finally, at 5:03 on a Friday. Diddy, 1 minute ago, this is NBC News. Diddy told Jane she would have a rude awakening if she didn't comply. In an audio message from Diddy to Jane, it played in court. He warned she was going to have a rude awakening. You will have silence if she didn't participate in hotel nights with him. I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, he said in the message. You got me. He told her, you got me on my job. It will never work like that over here. You need to get on your job, meaning his job of supporting her financially and her job of taking care of him. Yep. That's how I hear it. That's how I hear it. You have left me no choice. You have me treating you. I am trying to be clear. I am going to disappear on you. Oh, he is sick. Oh my God. Ugh. He is sick. I'm going to disappear on you unless you have 4 men in one night so I can watch. Like, what kind of freaking deranged, crack-headed ass lunacy? Sorry, That's what it is. What kind of deranged lunatic? If you don't have relations with other men and play around in their slime with me, Sean P. Diddy Puff Daddy Combs, then I'm taking your house away. I'm disappearing. Like, where does this man even get off, even forming his fingers to type something like that, or forming his crusted, dusted mouth to say something like that? Like, that is the thing. He is just so absolutely diabolically unlikable. Nasty. Thank you so much, Orchid Lover, for the $10 super chat. I wish I could donate more. You are amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the $10 super chat. That's what they were doing. I mean, that's what was slime. What else y'all want me to call it? Okay. I'm trying to see if they're going to be arguing about anything else, but I'm also tired and ready to go. Okay, hold on. Let me, Faye, I agree with you here. Why does it feel like so much info is actually missing from this case? The record label was definitely a front for something else, but we aren't scratching deep enough. I feel this too. Diddy Docket said, where does he get off? In the corner, in the shadow. Yeah, we have covered this. That's true. The courtroom, they are in the courtroom discussing evidentiary issues. They hadn't left. Hold on, I need to pull something up. Just nasty. Just now, like when I just think about him, I'm just like, oh. Like I didn't have like formerly like really strong feelings about this man, but okay. I don't know if they're gonna update anything else here. It's 5:07. They are still arguing about things, but I think I'm gonna call it a day on today, everybody. Right. Tiffany Foster, I think this is a good point to leave it on. I agree with you. I feel that if the government goes any deeper, there's going to be a whole lot of people in trouble. And I'm not sure if they're ready for that, sadly. Truly. I mean, look how hard it is to take down one guy. Now imagine they're trying to go after the whole industry. They're going to be joining up together. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And yeah, I do think it is important to note that she, was on substances. Okay, wait. They're updating things. There are 2 exhibits that were objected to. Notes this victim wrote, calling Diddy a liar because he has multiple women. We said it in our opening. Judge said, put it in a letter. And here's Inner City Press. On the docket? No, it's like all this super secret behind the scenes crap. So there's 2 exhibits that Agnifilo and them are objecting to. Thanks so much to Jessica Perry for the $5 super chat. I listen to you 8 hours a day while I am driving around for work. Thank you for making my days better and for all the hard work you are doing. Aw, thank you. Y'all can, if you appreciate the work of the mods, their links are in the description box down below. Also, Inner City Press. His stuff is his link is in the description box down below. And also my legal fund link is in the description box down below. If you want to donate, more percentage goes to me straight there than if you donate through a super chat. And now I'm going to redirect y'all over there to, let Let me just do one more refresh and see if they're saying anything else. I don't want to miss anything. Adjourned. Okay. Court adjourned. That's all I have for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me adjourn for the weekend. Adjourned. See you on Monday or whenever the next court date is. I have to look. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, and neither are opinions, and neither is reading this stuff. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not in the courtroom. Love you. Okay, bye.